This week on the Steam Machine podcast, it's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's a goddamn Puke. Cue the music. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Steam Machine podcast. My name is Dalton, and joining me always is the Destructo Bros.
Hey, what up everybody? It's Nate.
Hey, it's Willie. How you doing?
And we have a special guest, and I say special in the way that he was in those classes in high school. How are you doing, One Team Retrogue Mikhailov? How you doing, buddy?
So, I got to witness the moment where Willie got good.
Hey!
And I also got to witness the birth of the Dragonator.
Yes!
True.
That's right. I was trying to think of that when I said the Destructo Bros. I was like, Terminator? No, that wasn't it. Fuck, what was it?
Just go with it. We're doing it live.
We're doing it. Fuck it. We're doing it live. How you boys doing? Let's start with the guest.
Oh, I'm doing miserable.
Mikhailov.
You sure you want to hear my woes?
Feel free to share your misery or just talk about something nice.
Well, we'll do the misery first. The short of it is my dog's a jerk, and we're going to have to pay $18,000 to replace a deck.
What?
Ouch.
How does a dog do $18,000 worth of damage to a deck?
Oh, the dog isn't the jerk for that reason. The dog is a jerk because he decided he didn't want to be groomed today, so he just...
took a shit.
Yeah, he just took a dang old dumpity-doo and freaked out the groomer and made me go pick him up.
Okay, I was really concerned with the way this whole thing introduced that the dog did $18,000 damage. I was like, how? Okay.
He knocked
He
over
ate
the
a
gorilla
1904
like
Golden Eagle coin and then...
I mean, I'm sure if he really wanted to, he'd be capable of it, but... No, the deck is just getting old. It's not apparently connected to the house.
All right.
And on top of that, it was built in 1985, and...
What's wrong with things built in 1985?
everything, including
I don't know,
their
much like
terrible,
Springsteen.
terrible beards.
Madonna.
Damn.
That was built way
File of
before
shame. I'll be
Nirvana.
back.
Stop it.
That was back when it was U2 and Blondie.
Music's still on MTV.
Still on MTV.
These two kids in high school. Okay, sorry. We can continue. Nate cannot do the white man face anymore, or else his lips will literally fall off.
So that's the bad news. This bad day all around. Like bad dog, bad deck, bad.
Oh, it's a nice deck you got there.
I got a Steam Deck. That's a nice deck.
It's a real nice deck.
So I don't know. Other than that, started up a podcast of my own, which I guess I'll plug later. But think this one, but old games and with only 2 people.
Word.
So.
Well, if you want more people, I'm sure you could solicit guests, and I'm sure you'd find people to be happy to join you.
I'm probably going to bother at least one of the people in this room right now to be on the show, if not all 3 of you.
Nice.
At least one, he said. No plans on you. Maybe. I'm just going to let you down real
Well,
nice.
I feel
and
like
easy.
Nate and Willie have to be a package deal.
We don't.
No, Nate was on Hollow Knight. I was on King of Fighters 2002. Do you even listen to this show? Why are you on this network? You haven't done your homework. You're fired.
You're fired.
Out of a
I'm just kidding.
cannon into
I'm
the sun?
rehired. Nah, I rehire you because I like you.
Okay, that's fine.
But
I take back my
You're now the
comment
junior
about
member,
your
so
beard.
bring me some coffee. Okay, well, you know what? In that case, we're all screwed.
Okay.
You can have your old pay rate. You can have your old pay grade
Can I
back.
have a raise?
No.
Here's an empty ZZZ quill. You can have that.
You know, all you had to say was you're going to double my rate because 00 is still 0.
Yeah.
I mean, someone probably pays you.
Someone does, I guess.
In the state of Connecticut, right?
In this.
Yeah, I don't pay taxes there, so.
Yeah, thank you, Connecticut taxpayers, for my paycheck.
Yeah, you're his boss. Bitch him around.
All 5 of you who live in Connecticut.
Oh. So.
What's up, New Haven? Tell this bitch what to do.
Oh, speaking of New Haven, I went to Toad's Place a couple weeks ago and saw Queensryche in concert.
No.
Oh, hell yeah. How'd that go?
A name I don't hear often.
It was loud. And I'm old.
I was saying, you are old.
However...
Queensryche is pretty old, too.
However, the opening band had a guitar player who looked just like Dalton in his 60s.
Okay, no he didn't. I am much more attractive than that man. I don't give myself a lot of credit, but like you are basically saying this is Dalton in 20 years if he just decides that beer is his new water, and this is what he'll look like.
Well, listen, there was a drunk ass.
I love Beer's the New Water on Netflix.
That looked just like Nate in the same venue. So
sure.
Were you just at a doppelganger convention?
Apparently, I was trying to look.
He was at the doppelgang bang, and
I was trying to look for Willie, but Future Willie was not there.
I just picture like
he fucking knew better. He wasn't going to go to Queensryche. He was at Queens of the Stone Age.
Fucking Queensryche concerts probably got like the canned oxygen for sale for people who are moshing because they're fucking
a little Perrier.
Yeah.
So I went to a Queensryche concert and felt young.
I was about to say you were the youngest one there.
So yes, in the sense that they were oxygen tanks, but for people who were legitimately on oxygen.
Dude, that's... Oh my god. Yeah, you walk in, you're just like, the smell of baby powder and Depends.
Mothballs.
You're like, can you guys do a Radiohead, Machine Head cover? Can you play My Iron Lungs?
Jesus Christ, I'm never going to live that shit down.
Oh no, you're going to get that in every episode from now on.
Oh man.
Sometimes Machine
Head. Look, the thing is, these other two don't know that much about Radiohead. I'm the one that's going to give you the slightly deep dives.
Okay, computer.
You know what? That's a decent enough retort. I'm going to give you that one.
So
if this was Excite Bike, you would have landed on the back wheel and jumped, but you would have landed. You wouldn't have crashed.
I'll take that.
When we were speaking of taxes, for no reason other than that purple shirt. Nate, how are you doing, my good sir?
Yeah, I'm not doing too bad. Hasn't been a terribly eventful 2 weeks. I will say that I had a lot of fun over the weekend. We decided to go up to Louisville for Memorial Day, so I got to hang out with the family, eat some good food. There's a lot of really good antique stores in Louisville. It's because it's kind of an older city on the Ohio Valley, on the Ohio River. There's just so much good shit you can find just going into these stores, and it's just a lot of fun. And it's so funny because, like, having grown up in Kentucky, I can recognize the 1986 Kentucky Derby glass anywhere because they do a glass for every year of the Kentucky Derby. And every time I go into a store, I was like, that's 1986, that's 1986, without even seeing the year on it, just because I recognize the design at this point. That's my birth year for you people at home that think I'm younger than I am. So it's good times. And I just always have a lot of fun just going to antique stores. We didn't pick up a whole lot of stuff while we were there, but it was just good being out and about. I really enjoy being there. And then hanging out with the family is always a good time, too. Dad made some pork chops, green beans, and corn on the cob. And
hell yeah.
And
Hell yeah.
Gathered around the TV, watch Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy. Just
about 30 minutes of Godzilla Destroy All Monsters.
On Svengoolie. All good times. So.
On the GameCube?
Yeah, baby. Svengoolie.
Yeah.
Svengoolie's the fucking man, dude.
He's the man.
So that was my weekend. It was a good time. Like it was pretty uneventful couple of weeks other than that though, but the thing that was really crazy about though was the fact that like I'd planned on going up on Friday and coming home on Sunday. That way I could just spend all day Monday sitting at home playing Monster Hunter. The weather got so bad on Sunday when I was supposed to be going home. Like we looked at the weather, it's like, yeah, big storms with tornadoes coming in within an hour, and it was like all the way down from Louisville all the way back down to Tennessee. And I was like, okay, let's just extend the hotel a night. So I went down to the hotel manager. Was like, hey, I want to extend the hotel room. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. I'll give you a discounted rate. I'm like, really? Yeah. I was like, sweet. So he gave me like,
right? Hell yeah.
So he gave me a discounted rate. We stayed an extra night and like just watched the storms from the window and just like found out like a couple tornadoes had touched down in the southern part of Kentucky where we went through. We were driving back in. There's a little town called Russellville I drive completely through like the downtown area of, and like you could tell all the power was out. There were trees down everywhere. It was just like, yikes.
That sucks. I know how that goes though with the hurricanes down here.
Yeah. So like you guys look at the hurricanes, we do the tornadoes for like, I feel like do a larger amount of damage in a smaller area. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, tornadoes are fucking devastating for like what do they usually have, like a few mile radius that they really fuck up?
Yeah.
Like 10 to 20 mile radius.
Yeah. It's like a very specific line that they go down because like, I don't know how.
It's like a laser cutter from God.
And it's like, it touches down on the ground and then just starts traveling along the ground and just destroying everything in its path. And it's like it's not like a mile long radius because that'd be horrifying if a tornado was that big. But like, it's still really
so I meant
scary.
Movement radius.
Oh yeah, it can be about that. Yeah, but like
they move around about a mile or two and just fuck. Dude, the pictures I've seen after like a major tornado is terrifying.
Yeah, it is absolutely terrible. And it's like it's so funny because like it's like I grew up in Kentucky, right, and we have tornadoes every year. So just like let's go down to the basement. It's probably not going to get to us. And usually you're right about that. And I always thought hurricanes were way scarier than. Talked to Kayla and she was like moving from Florida to here. She was like, nah, tornadoes are way scarier than hurricanes.
Yeah, hurricanes, like, they're fine up until a certain point.
Yeah.
When you start getting into category 5, then it starts getting to be a little worrying, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But it's really just like the sky is just very angry.
Yeah.
If you've ever played Pressure Wash Simulator, I feel like it's the difference between the 30-degree hose and the 0-degree hose.
When I was little...
I like all the hose.
My parents had us...
Ha! In different area codes.
Why do I...
By the way, shout out the last area code in the fade out of the song area codes is 502, which is Louisville, Kentucky.
Hell yeah.
And
your
just
parents had a what?
I don't remember. These two messed me up.
Welcome to Dalton's every week.
Yeah, this is what it's like to juggle these monkeys.
Juggle these lows.
Welcome to the Steam Machine Podcast with Dalton and a couple of weirdos.
True dat. All right, that's all for me, though.
Welcome to Dalton and his problems.
At least when I'm on, there's slumber party energy. I'll give you that.
That is true. I'll always love that.
Just gotta hook up the Nintendo 64. We'll be good to go.
Play some No Mercy or Revenge.
I mean, the way the Discord's laid out right now for me, it's like split screen on a Nintendo 64 anyway.
Yep. No screen cheating.
Let's get some Mario Kart going.
Hell yeah.
Well, what you will.
Well, so you mentioned there were a lot of storms in Louisville, which is me. That's where I am. So we lost power. But thankfully, for my birthday several months ago, Mikhailov here gave me a POW Kitty handheld that had a bunch of games on it. And my family does have a generator, but we didn't have it turned on for, like, internet and things like that, computers. We just had it on for communication devices to charge our phones, to keep the food from going bad, that sort of thing. Like, it's not a very strong generator. But I was able to play this game, and so I just got really into a few games. So I was playing WarioWare for the Game Boy Advance for the first time.
Great game.
That was really fun. Yeah, really good game. I really enjoyed it a lot. Like, it was a lot more challenging than you would expect from a bunch of, like, 3-second games without feeling unfair. I did get up to the Wario stage, but I didn't finish it. Because I was kind of bouncing between a bunch of games trying to find the ones that stuck. And I enjoyed WarioWare, but then I started really going into the NES ones. And I started playing the hell out of Balloon Fight and Marble Madness. And Marble Madness was just the one that just absolutely, like, I was just like, okay, this is all I want to do now. And so the cool thing is, once the storm ended, I was able to, reconnect it to Retro Achievements and start playing on that. And I was like, oh, okay, I have a score in the top 200 now. I'm just going to keep on playing this game. And I just kept on playing Marble Madness. Like, that is the game that kept me sane during the storm. And it was just so much fun to play with during, afterwards.
Is that running Retrogue? Is that how you're able to link it? Yeah.
Yes, RetroArch is it runs on the system that it's the same account I use on the PC. When I was streaming earlier, I was streaming off the PC RetroArch, but I was playing it on the PAL Kitty at first.
Okay.
And yeah, so it works. It links to the same account. It's really cool like that. So I was playing the hell out of that. Before the storm, I also was playing a game that was given away on Epic a while back called Hell is Other Demons. And I had a lot of fun with that. It's this game with like a 2-bit graphic or 2-bit color, high, very pixelated art style, but it's not like a specific game console it's emulating. It's just very pixely. But it's like it's really cool. It's like it's hard to exactly explain, but it's like a twin stick shooter and a platformer at the same time. And you can buy upgrades after you finish a level, or if you die or whatever, you get a certain number of gems. You can go buy upgrades and then try the level again. It's kind of inspired by Downwell, I think, because there are a couple shoutouts to Downwell in it. I had a lot of fun with it. I felt like I was improving the more and more I played. It was just a good time. But man, I cannot shout out Marble Madness for the NES enough. Like, I kept on playing it after the power was back on. My goal was to just get 52,500 points to beat the cartridge's built-in high score. I didn't think I'd ever beat the game in my life. Then today I beat it, and I kept on beating it over and over again until I got an 80,000 point score and completely mastered the game according to Retro Achievements.
Also, big shout-outs to Dane, because one you didn't mention was that you had the power outage caused a surge into your PC.
Right!
Oh, yeah.
Right, so we had not only did that happen with power outage, but when the power initially went out, like I heard a bunch of whirring. I was on my computer at the time. I heard a bunch of weird whirring noises. The TV went out and then came back on, but I could still hear the audio when it was off and then on and off and on and off and on. And basically, it was getting partial power, then no power, then partial power, then no power, and it caused a surge that corrupted the CMOS or the BIOS. And I tried resetting. I didn't know what was wrong with it, so I tried reseating. I took the whole thing apart, tried reseating the RAM chips, tried pulling out the GPU to see if it would work without that, and none of that worked. So I pinged, the tech chat in our Discord, C Machine Discord, and Dane, who is he's like our resident Linux open source guy. He knows a ton about computers, and he's like, well, look for blown capacitors, because that could be a sign there's a problem with the motherboard. So just physically examine the motherboard, and also try removing the CMOS battery and putting it back in and seeing if there's like a corruption in the settings. And thank God that's what it was, because I swear to God, I thought I was going to have to replace the power supply. I thought the power supply was blown because what was happening when I plugged the computer in and tried to turn it on was the main computer, the fans, none of that would turn on, but USB devices would get powered. So I thought, okay, so the 5-volt stuff is working, but not the other rail. But it turns out it was just the CMOS wasn't like sending, I guess, the signal to turn all this shit on, because it wasn't firmware booting correctly.
Wow.
So I really appreciate that Dane was able to identify that issue, because I was honestly about to say, Nate, can you get me another power supply? Because I don't think I'm going to be on the podcast this week. So mega shout outs to Dane. That is huge. Thank you for bringing that up, Nate.
Yeah, I had figured that somebody in there would be able to help you, because when you had asked me and Nate, or you mentioned it, I was just like, that's a little out of my pay grade.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure.
We might play PC games.
Well, I just wanted to let you guys know.
We might play PC games. We don't build PCs.
Yeah.
I just wanted to let you guys know there was a problem, because if I couldn't resolve it, I was going to be like, okay, unless I can find somewhere else to record, I won't be able to be on the episode, and I won't be able to join you guys in the game until,
Well, now you know. Next time, if you can't resolve it, just check out the hook while the DJ revolves it.
Ice, fuck you.
Dane, diddy, Dane.
No, see, they couldn't sue us because ours went ding, 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 digga, ding, ding, and theirs went ding, 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 digga, ding, 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 ding. Mikhailov trying to open his third eye by rubbing his forehead.
Mikhailov regretting signing up for this episode.
Pressure.
But what...
He is
about you?
Down on me. I'm doing the lyrics completely wrong.
Wow, going down on...
That was pretty close.
Cool. Dalton, what have you been up to, my guy?
Well, just been putting in applications, trying to find some work. Wrote a few new songs yesterday. Just some EDM type stuff.
Sick, that's what I like.
Do we have some new records coming out, maybe, from the Nile the Nightmare?
I'm working on one at the moment just because I have a lot more free time now to actually do music. And now I have time to, like, learn my synth, too. So that'll be fun.
Sweet.
My new synth.
I don't want to promise too much, but I'm trying to learn a different digital audio workstation right now. So we'll see if I can maybe pop in and do anything with you at some point.
That'd be fun. Listen, you learn how to use a fucking drum machine, you'll be my best friend.
Okay.
Because
can do.
I do not know. I cannot figure out how to make drum tracks for the life of me. I can give you like what I need with like. If you could,
I honest to God think if you could like just make like a like if you Vocaroo it and send that to me, I can probably figure out what you're trying to tell me and translate that into a drum beat.
We'll hash it out in post.
Now the Nightmare and Icebrand Studios collaboration.
There you go.
Nice, the Nightmare.
The icy Nile. The frozen.
The icy Nile.
Frozen river.
Shit, that's actually kind of good.
Oh, because ooh, I see what you did there. I like
There's
it.
Levels.
It's like
I like that.
It's like Velvet Revolver, but not.
Now, just to be sure, because of the way you are with band names, are you trying to talk about the Velvet Underground, or do you mean Velvet Revolver this time?
I'm talking about Velvet Revolver, the band that is the lead singer of Stone Temple Pilots, but everybody else is Guns N' Roses.
I regret to inform you that you are correct, and I cannot make fun of you for this one.
Booyah!
But yeah, so I've been playing a few games. Been dabbling with Firestone, which is just a little idle game that I got on Epic. Epic did something where they were like, log in and you'll get a bunch of free stuff. So I was like, hey, head start. I'm cool with it. I've been looking for a new idle game, and I've really been enjoying it. So
the game is still free on Epic, by the way, although the bonus giveaway has ended. But you can still get the game for free on Epic. So if you're interested in trying it, no cost.
It's also free on Steam if you prefer Steam. It's on both. Let's see. I've also been playing some Fishing Sim World Pro Tour. Which has been a good time. It can annoy me, but I know that when I'm not catching any fish, it's because of something that I'm doing, like my bait's not right or something like that. Because when I do use the right stuff, I get bites pretty often.
The bite stuff.
So yeah, the bite stuff. So I've been having fun with that. Nate was so kind as to get me Ewan Chronicle 100 Heroes. So I have been playing around with that as well, which, by the way, if we can just get more games in that like 2D HD graphic style with the 3D rendered stuff like Star Ocean did with their remake, that Dragon Quest, which got a release date or window or something like that. Dragon Quest 3 HD remake.
Yeah, think of it as the Octopath Traveler style.
Yeah. Yeah, Octopath, but like they've even tweaked it since then. You know what I mean? Like, but that was like the start of it was Octopath. It was just hey, here, boom, here you go. And then like Pierce Solar looked pretty good for what it was. But yeah, so Ewan Chronicle, so far, I think I have 8 people, 8 people in my party, but I think there's like over 100 people. I think it's like OG Suikoden, where you can get, there's a lot of people that you can get into your party. There's one guy that immediately jumped out to me as somebody that Willie would never take out of his party. And it's a dude who's got like this really, it's like a mohawk, but it's also like a pompadour looking thing, and it's red or pink, and he wears a pink jacket, and he keeps his hands in his pockets, and he kicks like fucking Orange Cassidy.
Yeah. I already love that, actually. Yeah.
Sounds like Willie gets a kick out of it.
Hey.
He would get a kick.
Hey! Now, it just sounds like you've just mashed 3 different character tropes together in a way that I think is really fun.
He's hilarious. And then the one that I think that Nate would like is Grom, who's the big wolf guy.
Yeah.
Just big.
You sent us pictures of this and said, this is Nate. And I'm like, yeah, that's
Scott Hal fantasy.
Yeah,
we got to do one of the Monster Prom sequels this year.
Really, really enjoying Ewan Chronicle. I don't want to give away a lot of the story. I haven't seen much of it yet. I will say that there is a common trope with JRPG protagonists, and that basically the joke is that you do not want to be from a town that a JRPG protagonist is from. And that also counts in this game. And I'll just leave it at that, but it's like, God damn. It happens so often that it's like, okay, I can see why people call it a trope. It doesn't bother me. Like, things like that get repeated in different things, like, has never bothered me. Like, I guess tropes. It's almost like Easter eggs to me.
I mean, and to an extent, it's like, you could call it a trope, but as far as fantasy literature goes, that is literally something that happens in Lord of the Rings, you know?
Yeah, and it's like, I guess there's only like so many stories you can tell.
But it's like, I mean, do you remember that time when Jesse and James and Coughing and Meowth just razed Pallet Town to the ground, leaving not a cinder?
No.
Oh, I might have had too many mushrooms that day.
You downloaded the wrong Pokemon movie. What are you doing, Step Pikachu?
Fucking shit. I tried to make it dark and I tried to make it funny, and you just made it so much nastier and funnier in 5 words. I'm beaten. Lo, I am slain on this day.
But the main
he
said,
thing I wanted you mind if I get a Pikachu?
Baby, I ain't gonna write you
I wrote
a
a rap
song.
one time, and one of the lines in the song was, "I want to make you Squirtle, girl. Let me get a Pikachu." Yeah. Your silence is warranted. It wasn't great, but
No, I'm smiling. I just couldn't react to it. I didn't have a vocal reaction, but I was over here going. I was actually trying to think of a way to make Cubone into
and the
a
next
sexual
morning
innuendo,
we're
and I
gonna
couldn't
be
pull it off because
Bulbasaur.
Cubone versus. Ooh,
I'm gonna leave you Bulbasaur.
I'm gonna whack it all night long.
Nate, you got a Cuboner.
I think it's pretty cute, yeah.
I heard you like leftovers. Let me leave you like a Snorlax, laying on your back, snoozed.
Take a chancey on me.
So, I've also been watching some anime. Speaking of Pokemon,
I'm gonna huck a loogie on you.
anytime I'm like,
Oh, Billy, let the man.
Yeah, I'm
Let the man
I'm
talk.
going to the bathroom.
Willie's giving it to
sorry.
the ho-oh.
Can't make a wife
Damn
out
it!
of
You
a
beat me to
ho-oh.
it. I was about to say it.
Okay, so I've been watching some anime, and anytime I'm in this like mindset that I've been in, I always just watch anime. I don't know why, but I finished up Konosuba season 2, just as funny as season 1. That show is fantastic. If you like to laugh a lot and don't mind, I'll call it fan service because it's totally fan service, but not in a gratuitously sexual way. Almost like how Neptunia was. Then I recommend Konosuba. It's fucking hilarious. I watched High School DxD or High School DD. What do you want to call it? That one is 100% fan service. It is not shy about it, so it's not for everyone. But it is also hilarious. Peter Grill in The Philosopher's Time. See what I said about High School DD. Prison School. See what I said about High School DD. Although Prison School was quite funny. Just the whole concept of it. These 4 dudes get sent to a school because like they're trying to integrate guys into this all-girl school, and they immediately get in trouble and thrown into the school's prison, and hilarity ensues. But the one that I watched that, for the most part, was wholesome, was Campfire Cooking in Another World with My Absurd Skill. Okay. So you know how animes are. Now, Willie, you just got back, so I'm going to repeat the name. Campfire Cooking in Another World with My Absurd Skill. Now, this anime just doesn't fuck around. It starts off, and the dude's like in a room, and this god's like, "We need you to be in this other world, so we are transferring you there." Boom, and it's done. It's like they just jump into it. There's no isekai like, "Oh, I got killed, and now I'm accidentally reincarnated."
Truck-chan doesn't show up.
Yeah, none of that. It's just like they just send them in. So everyone gets, when they get into this when the new players or outside people are sent to this world, they get stats and their skills and stuff. And all of his skills are super low, like combat and all of that stuff is super low. The one thing he's really good at is online shopping. Online grocery shopping.
Yo, my eBay stat is nuts, bitch.
So he can just like open up this interface and just buy things online that cost him Japanese money. But the gold conversion is like 1 gold is equal to like 10,000 yen or something like that. So he's just like rolling in dough eventually because he cooks this meal that's so good that a Fenrir wants to be his friend. So he's got this god as his companion. Like they form a bond and they're like bonded together. And he'll be like, "All right, we need more food, so go hunt for food." And Fenrir will be like, I will. Because Fenrir is just like, feed me. It is time to feed me. It is time for food. I am hungry. What is for dinner? This is very much how he is all the time. And he'll come back with like legendary monsters just dead. And this dude ends up just like, he has basically a bag of holding and goes to the guild and they're like, all right, so what'd you bring back? And he's like, I got 20 orcs. I got this great big giant black snake. I've got a blue T-Rex. He just all this shit on there. Like, what the fuck? It's because he's got a Fenrir. And
so maybe I'm losing my mind right now, but like what you're describing is an anime plot, right?
Yes.
I feel like this would be so much better as like a visual novel. Just make this a video game in the first place.
I was gonna say,
like, you want it so bad to be a game. Just make it a fucking game.
This sounds like a great I don't know if I would say.
As a look for a game, I would play it.
Like a loot gathering game, or like a resource gathering game. This sounds like a great man. We should develop it.
Well, maybe
this could have been Battle Chef Brigade, man.
This is a relatively new anime, I think. Let me double check. But yeah, I mean, it could get a game. It probably would be one of those that never comes out over here, or would be a mobile game or something. But I think it would be an interesting game. Most isekai, I think, would make interesting games. Yeah, this came out January 11th, 2023.
Okay, so it's less than a year and a half old.
Real new. I really enjoyed it though. There was like little to no weird anime stuff, I'll call it, in it. It was all just isekai hilariousness, like getting transported to another world and dealing with that. That being said, I have been enjoying some harem anime. They are just hilarious to me. These buffoon dudes have all these hot girls around, and they're just like, man, I don't know what to do with my life. I'm like, it makes me chuckle.
We saw Tenchi Muyo when we were in middle school or high school or whatever. We know the drill.
Yeah. I started To Love Ru today, which I think is one from I think it's the early aughts, but it's been interesting. It's about an alien chick, as animes typically are. Ooh, this person from outer space landed. What are we going to do?
Smooch.
Yeah, I'm going to sleep in bed next to you naked.
Oh, Willie, that's your answer to everything.
But yeah, other than that,
rewind back to Step Pikachu.
I'll take a step back from that Step Pikachu.
Quick update on Super Mega Baseball 4. We are still undefeated, and Willie is the top of the home run hitters in the entire league by like a wide margin.
Aren't I also a shortstop?
You're a third baseman, I think.
Third baseman. That's so fucking funny.
Like, I think we're like 21-0, and I think you have 39 home runs.
Jiminy Christmas.
Yeah, dude. You either just your ball gets caught and you're out, or you crack it. Like, you very rarely get on the base.
Yo, true outcomes player. You'll love to see it. Take the fielders out of the game entirely. I strike out or I hit a home run. That's it. Let's go.
Yeah. Other than that, I've been playing.
I'm Adam.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm Adam Dunn up in this bitch. Let's go. Big donkey.
Donkey.
Big donkey. I loved Adam Dunn, man. He was with the Reds for a little while, but I liked him before and after too.
My God, donkey. Speaking of that, we got to talk about this. I learned this week and sent it to the boys that Shrek started out as a book. Written in 1990.
I have to fact check you on this one. The screenshots you sent the images are from the book. The text is edited. That is not from the original text of the book. It isn't the original Shrek book. I didn't want you to get too hyped before you bought the Shrek book.
Oh, I still want the book regardless because I love the art style.
Okay.
But
the art is really cool, though. I just wanted you to say, that I brought a shotgun that kills clouds. Unfortunately, that is not a line from Shrek.
The line that got me was that, Shrek is going to marry this girl, and they couldn't find a priest to do it because God hates Shrek. So,
yeah. Those are really good images. I'm not trying to shit on the image. They are the funniest shit I've ever seen. I just didn't want you to think that the movie was directly based on them. There's a step in between.
I got you.
But those pictures are so fucking fun.
But I had no idea that it started as a book, although it makes sense. It makes sense because it's Disney does that. They take old stories and makes movies out of them and stuff. Oh, that wasn't
That was DreamWorks.
Was it? DreamWorks.
That was DreamWorks.
Same concept still applies, though.
It's a fractured fairy tale. It's a fractured fairy tale, so it's not too far away from what they do.
You're a fractured fairy tale.
I mean, Shrek.
I'm about to fracture your tailbone.
Shrek is basically a parody of Disney movies. Period.
Exactly. Yeah. It's genuinely just a send up of that kind of source material. You got the evil King Fuckwad, essentially.
Oh, Farquaad.
Why you gotta be an onion?
Yeah.
What a great
Why you gotta be an onion? Why don't
movie.
you be something everybody love? Why don't you be a Popeye? Everybody love Popeye. Don't you love Popeye? Mikhailov, don't you love Popeye?
Huh? Bringo.
So we played Monster Hunter.
We did.
We played a game called...
Bringo Burr.
called
Sorry, what's Pape?
Parfait.
Oh, you said parfait. I think you said Pape.
everybody
I honestly
loved
thought
Pape.
you... I misheard you so badly. I thought you were trying to set up a D's Nuts type joke, and I'm like, what's Pape? What's he going to say? I couldn't tell that was just you saying parfait and your attempt at maybe voice.
I totally get that, because you could totally get Pape these nuts out of this.
Yeah, it's almost sensible.
Yeah.
I wanted to know where he was.
Pape my
I was going to
balls
let him
kinda
cook.
So it's time for the obligatory Wikipedia bullshit, boys. We did play, I should say.
I don't know why, but audience, I always salute when he says that, and I just realized that is not something the audience ever hears, but I do it every time.
All right, I don't know how they would hear a salute, but you were absolutely correct. Monster Hunter World is what we played, and it is a 2018 action role-playing game developed and published by Capcom. It is the fifth mainline installment in the Monster Hunter series and was released worldwide for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One in January of 2018, with a Windows version following in August. In the game, the player takes the role of a hunter tasked down to hunt down or either kill or trap monsters that roam in one of several environmental spaces. If successful, the player is rewarded through loot consisting of parts from the monsters and other elements that are used to craft weapons and armor, amongst other equipment. The game's core loop has the player crafting appropriate gear to be able to hunt down more difficult monsters, which in turn provide parts that lead to more powerful gear. So players may hunt alone or in a group of up to 4 players via the game's online multiplayer. Now, I had slight experience with this beforehand, but Mikhailov, you had the most experience with this beforehand. So I want to know your first impressions of it when you first started playing it back in the day.
Okay, all right. My first impressions, they go way back to 2018. But myself and Monster Hunter have quite a past. And that goes all the way back to Monster Hunter Freedom Unite on the PSP. And I distinctly remember when the Vita came out, just the excitement of being able to play Monster Hunter Freedom Unite without having to do the claw on the PSP. Because you were basically playing a 2-joystick game with a joystick and a D-pad. And then when the Vita came out, you had dual joysticks. And then Monster Hunter 3 on the Wii. And then they transitioned to 3DS for a while. And so I had a phase of my life where I was actually meeting up with a bunch of people at a local mall, and we were playing Monster Hunter on 3DS, because even though that was a Wi-Fi capable system, these were not Wi-Fi accessible games. So you had to physically be in a group of 4 in the same room in order to play this game multiplayer.
Wow.
And so every single one of those games that I mentioned had a very specific formula of what Monster Hunter was, until Monster Hunter World came out and completely upended that formula and threw it on its ass. So I am actually thrilled that you guys ended up starting your Monster Hunter experience with this game, because this game has a lot of quality of life improvements that just make it much more approachable compared to the older games. And that was my first impression. Twofold, double-edged sword. I'm so happy that there's so many quality of life improvements here. However, I do feel like this is Monster Hunter Easy Mode. That's a lot of complaints that people have about this game, that it's Monster Hunter Easy Mode. I don't believe that for a second. I think that it has a better point of entry, and it gets rid of some of the menial tasks, but you get far enough in this game, you are going to get a good challenge. I don't want to say more than that, because that gets into the later games, but that was my first impression back in the day. great quality of life improvements. Maybe they made it too easy.
Okay. So, I'll go next, and then I'll go to the boys. My first experience with Monster Hunter was getting Monster Hunter 3 for my 3DS, and I bounced off of it hard. Like, I didn't get on with it. I thought the Palicos were cute.
Yeah.
But other than that, the game kicked my ass. I'm not going to lie. Like, even like the small monsters just beat my ass. And at the time, I was just not into that. I was like, this is dumb. Like, this seems like something that you would play with other people. And it's not a game to play by yourself. You know what I mean? Because I've played some MMOs like that, where it's like, if you try to do something by yourself, you get wrecked. You know? So I was like, meh, not for me. Flash forward to, I think PlayStation gave away Monster Hunter World for free, or it was really cheap and I got it or whatever. So like, I got Monster Hunter World, and again, loaded it up on PS4, played it some, and bounced off of it, and was just like, man, this just seems like something that you play with friends, and I don't have friends that play this style of game, so not my thing. Uninstalled it because it's a massive file. Flash forward to, I got a computer, and I don't learn lessons, so I saw Monster Hunter World really cheap, and I was like, yeah, I'll buy that. I have it on PS4. I'll just go ahead and get it on PC. It'll probably run better on here anyway.
Have I ever told you the definition of insanity?
Yeah. Oh, I've known I'm insane a long time. Yeah, I downloaded it, installed it, played it, and was like, nah, it's not for me. Uninstalled it. And now here we are. And when I loaded it up and started playing it, I actually gave it a chance. And I have played Dark Souls and stuff since then. So my skills at dodging big moves flying at me have grown significantly in years. And I enjoyed it a lot more. So it was a nice, refreshing, I'll call it, first thought.
I think for you specifically, Dalton, coming to this game after Dragon's Dogma and Dragon's Dogma 2 actually helped your first impression of it.
Yeah, that could be too, because it's a lot of the same style of fighting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can see that.
Although you can't throw your friends at it.
Yeah, that's the only problem.
Well, Nathan kind of throws me at things occasionally, but not necessarily the same way.
Oh, Nate with that axe.
Dragon's Dogma.
Yeah, Nate throws me. It's not in any particular fucking direction.
We'll get there.
But yeah, my first impression was I was much more open to it this time. So I'll tell you what, I have black and white on my shirt, and Willie has black and white on his shirt. So why don't we go with Willie next?
I actually would rather pop Nate next.
Nate, what about you, buddy?
Yeah. So my first impressions of this game come from thinking that I was absolutely going to hate it. Because I had seen our good buddy Paul stream this game back in the day, and I just remember watching it and and he was soloing. He wasn't playing with other people. He was playing by himself solo. And he was like, God damn, this takes forever and looks super boring to fight one of these big monsters. Oh, now the monster is running away and he's having to chase it across the map. This looks miserable. Why are you playing this game? This does not look fun at all. To the point that when we rolled this for the show, I was like, when this was on the fan poll, I was like, please don't let this game win. This looks horrible. I do not want to play this. And then, lo and behold, it got picked for the show, and I was like, well, I'm going to learn to like it, or at least play it for 3 hours and never touch it again.
If I was the deciding vote on that, you're welcome.
Well, so then I actually get in and start playing the game for myself, and it's one of those games that I will say I don't think does itself justice by watching gameplay. There's a feel that the game has to it, and a real sense of immersion you get once you get into it. I'm not going to say this game has a great story. It barely has a story to begin with. It's not something that you really pay much attention to. It's just a mechanic to get you from point A to point B to find the next big monster and do the next big thing. But I didn't care, because I was having a lot of fun once I finally got in there. It was even just first fighting these little monsters, like little Kestodons in the forest and stuff. I was like, yeah, this is actually kind of cool. And then you finally fight your first big monster, which is the Great Jagras in the game. I was like, crap, I'm sold on this game. I want to play this a lot. And I had to finally start all right, I want to slow down so I can play this with the boys and not just by myself, because this is because when I started playing multiplayer, that took it to a whole nother level where it's just that much more fun. And so, like, my first impressions were, I thought I was going to hate this game, and when I finally started playing for myself, it was a quick turnaround on the way I felt about it.
Hell yeah.
And so I wanted Nate to go ahead of me because not only was he going to bring up things that basically were what I wanted to touch on, and I didn't want to make those redundant, because everything he just said was also my experience of going into the game. I watched Paul play it. It looked even more annoying soloing low level. But, like, I'd watch, like, the guys from Polygon play, like, people I really enjoyed watching play video games that I didn't care about. Like, it was the same people that played PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, and I was, like, loving watching them play that game that I would never play myself. And I tried to watch them play Monster Hunter World, and I was like, I'm fucking bored to death. Like, I just thought it didn't look like it was any fun at all. And so, again, when the game was getting rolled, like Nick said, I was like, I'm voting for anything but Monster Hunter. Please let there be a tiebreaker vote so I can make it be Slap Yourself in the Dick Simulator 2018 instead of Monster Hunter World. And Monster Hunter World won. And so I'm like, you know what? Maybe I was wrong about it. I was wrong about thinking that the combat from Borderlands looked like it was too unsatisfying. Maybe once you get in the game, it feels more playable. And so I got into the game, and it's like, oh, you're in character creation. I'm just over there making my character. I'm like, oh shit, I'm having fun. I love making characters. And so I just started making my guy. I started feeling good. I got attached to my guy. Got sent into the beginning of the world. I'm like, okay, put it down, come back to it. Came back and played like the first actual mission of the game once you get into the base. And I'm like, oh. Next thing you know, much like Nathan, I'm like, actually, damn. Now that I'm actually feeling it, like, I was intimidated by how long of a game it is, how boring it looked at first, but once I started actually controlling it myself, I'm like, damn, this is actually subtle what you can do with this game. So again, I went from just like, sell me on it to, oh, you did it. Good job, game.
And that was the moment Willie realized he got good.
I think finding ways that I could relate it to Souls games helped a lot, too. Yeah. Because once I realized I could pivot around an enemy, dodge roll its attacks with invulnerability frames, parry if I... Well, you can't parry, I think. But my weapon had a block, at least, so I could cower if I need to. I never do that. I'm using Sword and Shield. I could block. The only time my block ever comes out is when my controller was fucking up for a while. And I did have to disassemble and repair my controller because it was throwing blocks out.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about our weapons of choice, because each one of us took a different mode of attack. So,
absolutely.
So Willie, you said you did Sword and Shield. Like, why did you choose that?
Sword and Shield is basically the most basic set of weapons in the game. It is the noob gear, and what I reckoned was, I'll pick Sword and Shield, I'll figure out what I like and what I dislike about these weapons, and I'll spec into a weapon that's more similar to what I liked doing. And so I thought, as I kept playing it, maybe I'd, want to do something more attack heavy, for instance. But I actually enjoyed the speed of Sword and Shield so much that I was like, I don't want to go faster. I don't want to go to the dual blades. And then you also pick dual blades, and I'm like, I don't necessarily want to double up. And I really loved the fact that I could do an attack that would launch me up and make me have an easy chance to mount monsters. So I'm like, I could learn a more complicated weapon, but I'm having enough fun with this basic bitch weapon that, frankly, I'm just going to be the Chad with the sword.
Fair enough. What about you, Mick? What did you use? It was a glaive of some sort, right?
So I mained Insect Glaive, which is what I usually always main in a Monster Hunter game, at least since Insect Glaive has been a thing. It was not an original weapon. And the reason I picked Insect Glaive is because I wanted to try something different for this particular playthrough. And so I had two weapons I was bouncing back and forth between. And the first one was Sword and Shield. And Willie's like, no, I got Sword and Shield. I'm like, okay.
Oh, I thought you wanted to say dual blades.
And then the second choice was dual blades. And Dalton was like, hey, I'm rocking dual blades. I'm like, well, guess I'm sticking with Insect Glaive then.
But hit the old dusty trail.
Which is fine, because I didn't have to learn a new weapon or anything like that. But I like the Insect Glaive because it's mostly an aerial weapon, so it's really good at gap closing, because you could literally pole vault yourself into the air, fly toward the enemy, and then if they're a flying enemy, you could just start wailing on it even though it's in the air. But one of the downsides is in order for it to work, you have to spend time sending out your, they call it a kinsect, to get 3...
Great pun. I love the puns in this game.
Kinsect, like kindred, yeah.
Yeah.
Palico. In Monster Hunter Rise,
it's a friend, and it's a calico. It's a palico.
In Monster Hunter Rise, you
I like that. It's
get
cute.
a dog,
Fuck you.
and they call him a palamute.
Palamutes.
Oh, I'm delighted. Palamute is so fucking good. My
and
God.
you can ride the puppy.
We're playing the wrong game. I want to play that now.
It's not as good as World overall, though.
Okay, I believe you. Plus, I could ride a Jagras eventually.
But if you are interested, I think there is like a humble bundle right now where you could get like a bunch of Monster Hunter games like dirt cheap, and I think Rise is in there. But anyway, yeah,
I'm told World is better than Rise on every level, so let's just keep on rocking.
Pretty much. No, one thing I like about the Insect Glaive, well, I told you what I liked. I said what I was about to say what like the tough part was, and that was that you have to maintain 3 different colors of buff that takes the form of like a juice that you basically extract from the monster. And when the monster's mobile, it's sometimes extremely hard to get that part of the body and then get the insect back to you. So you're pretty much ineffective if you can't get all 3 colors. And then that buff runs out. So you could be on a roll, monster could be knocked over, and you have to stop and rebuff, and you've just missed an opportunity to do a whole bunch of damage. And there's skills that you can use to kind of get around that. I'm sure we'll get into skills later. But, I don't know. It's not a starter weapon, and I think that's kind of why I gravitate toward it.
I did have a friend that was playing as like kind of a 5th member of the group, and he originally was going to do Insect Glaive and was finding so much frustration getting like a certain 3rd color off of certain monsters that he switched to a different one entirely. Like, it is not easy if you don't know how to get the exact parts.
I mean, the general rule of thumb is red is the head, orange is like the body, and then white is like the wings or the tail or something like that.
So the redhead
and green is the
He was really struggling.
Redemption.
He was struggling getting the orange.
I missed that entirely, and I think I'm glad I did.
Give it to us, Queen Nate.
Redemption. And Mikhailov is again wishing he was not part of this program.
I was going to say he has his hand on his chin and he's just looking down with his eyes closed, but he's moved his hand up to his forehead because he's just wiped it down. Now he's taking his glasses off and he's wiping his face again. And now he's got his hand on his nose, and now it's on his chin again.
So no
amount of face
Nate, tell us about
palming can wipe the filth of that joke off my face.
I put the fill in filth.
So the one that I used was the switch axe, which I gravitated towards that because, like, in any kind of game like this, I like to be the big beefy boy doing big beefy boy bullshit. So, like, the switch axe had this really cool thing where it's like 2 weapons in one, essentially. Like, you can start off as in the axe form, and then you can convert it into a giant blade as well. And both of those weapons have their perks and their downfalls. And like what I really like about it was just the fact that I am able to just get in and start meleeing the shit out of whatever monster I'm fighting. The problem with that is it's a slower weapon, so you will get caught in your animations of doing an attack and be very left wide open for a monster to attack you in return. So you really have to learn fast when you can get a couple shots off and then roll away and then restart the attack. One thing that really sucks with this weapon, though, is chasing down a mobile monster. So if this monster is moving a lot, it's really hard to keep it still long enough to get more than a couple shots off at once. Which, I will say, like, what I think is great about this game is I think it's designed for multiple people to be fighting at once, because that weapon with like the sword and with the insect glaive and with the dual blades, like if you have all 4 of those running together, like you can do so much stuff. Like Willie kind of mentioned this before, but one thing we do a lot is like my axe is so big that it can hit my teammates, and if I hit it to where it goes up, it will send one of my teammates just straight up into the air. And Willie uses that to his advantage a lot to get on the back of monsters and mount them.
Yeah, if you get an enemy coming down, you have a chance to mount them, which causes you to ride them. The enemy loses their attack pattern and does some random stuff trying to shake you off. Your friends can all hack at its legs while you're over there doing low damage attacks to its back. And if you're able to hang on long enough, if you have enough stamina, and if you've stabbed it enough times, you get real damage attacks and knock it over, and then everyone just gets to play Pinata.
The other weapon that I looked at that is one that I still would like to get good with is the, I think it's just like a great katana. It's a really long fucking sword. But
Sephiroth?
the reason that I bounced off of that is the same reason that Nate is saying that he was having issues with stuff that moved, is that it was so slow that I was like, this would be more effective if someone was tanking the monster and keeping its attention, and that way I could just wail on it with that. That's why I ended up switching to dual blade.
Yeah, which...
Unfortunately, we have tried to drow aggro as like a strategy, and it is a little harder to get the monster's attention when it really wants to hit someone than we would like it to be.
Aggro in this game is very hit or miss. I don't think the monster has any type of like enmity or aggression meter. I think it's literally just...
It's binary. Yeah. It's either you're a target or you're not.
So I think, like, if he targets you and he hits you, he's gonna go in for another hit on you. But if he's just looking for targets and you're all running around, he's just gonna fixate on one person at random.
I think so. But the counter side to what Nathan just said about his weapon, he was talking about how irritating it is that you can't get a weapon or an enemy that's running away horizontally. But he also has the ability to knock enemies out of the sky, basically, because his weapon has so much reach that it can hit hovering monsters like little dragons that are like 6 feet off the ground, whereas those of us with like daggers can't quite get up there.
And like the other thing that's really cool about the weapon is like in its sword mode, like so you move it from the axe to the blade, it has this thing called a file attached to it, and you can just unload this special attack that just like basically makes this huge explosion. It does a massive amount of damage, but it takes a while to go out. So like the strategy for me most of the time is wait for somebody or me to knock the monster down and then unleash that attack on them. We were also playing with our other friend Blitzy, and they were using a lot of ranged weapons, and they were using bow and gun, and that was really cool to see too.
Yeah, so his idea was he knew that we were going to have a bunch of new players in there that were going to be flailing around with melees, and he wanted a weapon that could keep him out of the way so he wouldn't get hit by us. He could just contribute without, like, shooting us by accident, you know? And so he went... I don't know the ranged weapons at all well enough to speak on it. All I know is, like, he would be back and he'd be like, I'm using tranquilizer ammo or something, and we would just like, okay, go.
Yeah, that's another thing I like about this game is there's a very nice combination of medieval and technological.
Yeah.
So, whereas your armor is mostly medieval looking and it's off of the parts of the monsters that you catch, there is a degree of, like, you have ammo, you have files, you have legit gunpowder. Like, there's an actual weapon called the gun lance, which is basically a lance that has, you know...
A gun
in it, or gunpowder, I would say, because you can't really shoot much.
It's basically like Squall from Final Fantasy VIII.
Exactly. So
those are the same words I thought when I saw gun lance for the first time, so thank you, Nate.
So there's a cool, like, almost Industrial Revolution type feel to this game, to where you're right at that cusp of medieval meets technological, and they're kind of intermeshed. I don't want to say it's steampunk,
it's fairly steampunk.
It's fairly steampunk.
It's not necessarily steampunk, but it's the same kind of mixed anachronism that steampunk loves to play with. I would say if you're familiar with, like, middle Final Fantasy games like Final Fantasy 6 or 7, where people with swords and people with guns and grenades are fighting each other, it's that flavor. Like, there's not airplanes, but there are basically dirigibles that are boats suspended by
but if you start this game off with the leather armor, you look like a steampunk dude, for sure.
It is super steampunk. The other one is super steampunk. Not gonna lie, that's the first thing I thought is. I almost didn't want to say that because I was like, oh, if I call this steampunk, Nate's gonna dislike it even more. But those goggles are steampunk as fuck.
But there's no electric powered, like, lights or anything like that.
That's true.
Like, you're still using fire and fireplaces to, like, light your home and things like that.
Yeah. So Dalton, at least your weapon of choice.
Yeah, and it's been mentioned a few times now. I used the dual blades. which were get in close and swing like a madman. The whole shtick with the dual blades is they have a thing called demon mode that you can activate and you become Dante from Devil May Cry.
You can see why that appeals.
I'm just kidding, but it's Capcom, so you know.
I was thinking Raging Demon like Akuma for Street Fighter, which is also Capcom.
Oh, there you go.
Quick side note, there is a Dante crossover event in this game where you can actually get Dante layered armor and you can wear his outfit.
That's awesome.
Nice! Well, like the red trench coat?
Sick.
There apparently is
Fuck
also
yeah.
one that you can make yourself Geralt, and I want that bad.
You can
there's
also
some crossover. There's some cosmetic
make yourself look like a
Nathan's
true-
got some cosmetic. Nate got some cosmetic stuff. Do you want to tell us about the cosmetic stuff you got for a player
Well,
character?
I kind of cut Dalton off.
Yeah.
He was talking about dual blades.
I'm so sorry, you're right. Dalton, you.
The demon mode thing, it's just like you activate it and it actively drains your stamina as you use it. But you attack much faster and you do more damage. And it's basically like a berserk mode. And anytime, like I would use it pretty often, but anytime the monster fell down, it was immediate demon mode, run to its head and just start dishing out damage. And there was a bunch of times I had 100 damage crits popping while I'm just wailing, and it felt real good.
Yeah.
If you deal at least 100 damage, the other people see your damage number, and sometimes I would just see a number 100 pop up for no obvious reason and be like, oh, Dalton's demoning, hell yeah.
And I do, like I said, I do want to check out that great katana and try more of that, but that's going to be something that I do like when I'm playing with you guys instead of by myself.
Yeah.
The blades are definitely more survivable by myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Oh, no, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like that trying out new weapons is going to be something we end up doing a lot more of the more we play this after the game, because honestly, I have 25 hours in this game and I still feel like a relative newbie. Like, there's still so much in this game that I don't know and understand that, like, I'm wanting to learn switch axe to the best of my ability before I even bother trying another weapon.
yeah, and there's a bunch of weapons I want. Like, even at the beginning of the game, switch axe was one of the ones I was looking at, because, like, the switch action where it's two different lengths of weapon reminded me of the weapons in Bloodborne, which is a game I've wanted to play so long, and they'll never bring it to PC because they're monsters.
Seriously. They'll bring all their other games except Bloodborne.
Fucking Sony. But, like, shit. Like, there's just all the choices. Every weapon has its own sauce. Like, the one I use, the Sword and Shield, has the ability to throw out a block. And like I said, I don't use that much. But you could just stand there, face the enemy, and block, and you just won't take damage. You could study the enemy's attack patterns and throw out a shield and just kind of hang back and look at it. And that would be huge against new enemies if I was smart enough to ever use that. But I never even remember that button exists. But then, like Dalton said, he's got the Demon Blade that lets him, like, zoom around. Nate's got the ability to switch his weapon and use the Charge Vial when he's in sword mode and just blast it for, like, several hundred damage. Mikhailov's weapon's got, like, the insect does all the things. Like, I don't know, man. There's so much fun stuff. Every weapon has got its own unique mechanic, and there's, like, 18 different, or 16 different starting weapons, something like that?
If you count all the guns, yeah.
Though, you're forgetting about a button existing. That leads me to my first negative thought about this game. If we want to dive into that, and that is the controller layout for this game is fucking balls. Like, like, okay, your main attack is Y.
That is weird. I'll give you that.
Okay, your other attack is like R2 or something.
There's B also. There is R2 for your tertiary, but like, I'm with you that because I've been playing a lot of Yakuza and Batman and shit, I'm over here mashing X trying to attack things and just using up all my antidotes during the first 5 hours of my gameplay. I got over it eventually, but yeah, that was one of my instant problems with the game.
And then
I will agree.
Like, they're like, oh yeah, and if you want to sprint, you can use R1 or press the thumbstick in. I'm like, why both? Just like, you could have picked one and made the other button do something else, like another attack or something. Like, I don't know. There's just some weird decisions they made with the controller layout that I find odd.
Yeah, I won't disagree with that. I honestly hate when games make me push the stick in, so I kind of appreciated that I had the option to not use the push stick button for that. But
yeah, I also only used right bumper and never used the stick click.
One thing too, I forgot. quickly about the dual blades, I forgot to mention. Do not get it twisted. Dual blades, you can also get locked into an attack animation when the thing has moved away. And then I'm just sitting there flailing around like I'm hardcore dancing at a fucking Hatebreed concert and just doing nothing. And I can't, it's like 2 seconds that there's nothing I can do. And so I feel your pain on that, Nate. But yeah, like just the controller layout was weird to me, and I kept getting lag spikes, and I'm not sure why. Because like there's a couple other online games I've played with y'all that hasn't happened to me, so I don't know what was going on. It's
interesting because I feel like I had the smoothest possible experience with this game. Like, and that might be the fact that everybody I played with, I don't know if you are or not, but everybody else I played with is wireless instead of a wired connection. Like I use a wired connection.
Yeah, I'm Wi-Fi.
Yeah, so I use a wired connection, and I had no stutters or hiccups with my internet connection. But like Willie had some, Blitz definitely had some. I don't think Mikhailov had any when I played with him.
No, I didn't have any hiccups. I also was playing on a wired connection, but I was also able to stream this game to one of my TVs downstairs. And I act like I have a million TVs, but my TV downstairs, I was able to do Steam streaming right to it, and I didn't have any problems. I played it on the Steam Deck a little bit. It's fine.
Okay.
I want to re-hardwire my shit. I just need to figure out how I'm going to run it up so a certain little demon can't shoot.
Through the walls if you can. But yeah, like me and Blitz use the same specious low rent internet connection system, so it's not surprising both of us had some similar issues because ours is wireless to wireless. We're both using 5G internets instead of a proper DSL or cable or what have you.
Yeah, that'll do it right there.
Yeah.
So the more solid your throughput is, the better. But that does say that if your internet's slightly unreliable, this game may perform a lot worse for you than other games that smooth out bad internet.
Like when I was playing with you guys, it was only really bad. The worst was when Blitz's internet was having a heart attack, basically. But
yeah, and that was literally his connection itself.
You had some stutters. It didn't seem to affect what was going on in my end of the game too much.
No, I would see everyone like teleport to like 2/3 of a second ahead, and then I just get back to fighting, and everything's cool.
And mine was more so I would just everything on the screen would freeze for like a second,
really,
and then it would just go back to normal.
You would just see like a wyvern flying in space doing nothing, and then all of a sudden it'd be somewhere else. Yeah, but then it would do it once. It wouldn't do it over and over again.
Okay.
No, mine was just it just kept like stuttering, and then it did it multiple times. But like I said, it's probably my Wi-Fi connection.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either. But I think we'd be kind of remiss if we didn't talk about the little story there is in the game. But basically, the whole theme of the story is like you're a rookie monster hunter. You're assigned to a handler, essentially is what they're called. And you're tasked with going to the New World and tracking down monsters. On the way there, this giant elder dragon named Zora Magdaros pops up. And then basically the whole story revolves around Zora Magdaros and trying to prevent him from destroying the New World, essentially. And I think that's really all you need to know about the story, because it's not a very deep story. It is a very, very...
Not much more to it.
It's a very shallow puddle of a story.
Well, I think that's the idea, is that the New World is basically a tabula rasa. You're on a new continent, there's new shit, it's completely open to new players, because you don't have to know what an Elder Dragon is, you don't have to know what a Handler or a Palico is. You get all the explanation you need just from seeing it in the first 15 minutes of the game, you know?
And you don't even
and if you just see a big
necessarily need to have played a previous Monster Hunter game.
No.
The story... is
not
inherently separate from the rest of it. The only thing you would get from playing a previous Monster Hunter game is some knowledge of what the old world is like.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by calling the New World a tabula rasa. Like, it's literally just a blank slate that you can imprint on from the beginning, even if you know nothing about the series, or if all you know is that Rathalos was in Smash Brothers, which is basically, I knew that, and I knew that the cats are really cute.
Yeah.
And that's basically it.
That's one thing I think this game does extraordinarily well, is it's an extremely immersive experience. You get in there, and the world feels like you're actually in it. Like, I don't know how to better describe that, but there's games that I feel like I'm playing, and there's games that I feel like I'm a part of. And big shout-outs, big credit to this game, because I felt like I was a part of this game rather than playing a game.
Even the individual biomes have their own diversity to them. parts of the ancient forest feel completely different from each other. Parts of the Wildspire Waste, the entire Wildspire Waste, which that's just the first 2 levels in the game, and the diversity of the like geography in those is insane. They're huge. The places feel different from each other, place to place. It's not like in No Man's Sky when you land on a desert planet and it's like, okay, the whole planet's desert.
That's one of the things this game did extraordinarily well as well, was like, a lot of times you'll get into a game and it'll have if it has like 4 or 5 biomes, they're all extremely generic. You'll have your forest, you'll have your desert, you'll have your ice world, and you'll have your whatever else. Like this game, nothing felt like quite that generic. Like the first level is the ancient forest that you biome that you go fight monsters in. And yeah, it's a forest level, but there's so much in it that it feels like its own thing. It doesn't feel like generic forest, at least not to me.
No, like the beginning of it's like this kind of forest plainsy meadow area, but there's also like a sheer like jungle area. There's like a canopy, and like you're climbing tree branch to tree branch, vine to vine. There's caves, there's like streams and rivers. All of it just feels alive.
The verticality that they put into the levels is extremely impressive to me, because like you expect this game to be like kind of just a flat map, but no, like there's so much climbing you have to do. There's like so many different levels of that area to explore that it keeps it from getting super boring.
I can see that because I like the fact too that you can be in a fight with a monster and that motherfucker will just knock you off.
Yeah. Thank God there's no fall damage in this game.
No fall damage though. Yeah. I was about to say the same thing. No fall damage is great.
But the cool thing is the monsters have different personalities too. Some of them are going to chase you down that cliff, and some of them are going to go, "Okay, cool, I'm free now," and they'll just try to leave.
There's several monsters in this game, like, and that's one thing I wanted to talk about, because like we're talking about this Monster Hunter game. I think a lot of this game relies on the monsters themselves, like how cool the designs are for them.
Yeah. So if you could describe the generic kind of the design language of the monsters in this game, like really briefly, what would you say? Like, just like if you had to just jump someone into what a Monster Hunter monster, the big hunts look like, what would you say?
Big, bad, beefy.
Big, bad, beefy, very reptilian or bird-like for the most part.
I'd say they're very dinosaur dragon coded, a lot of them.
Okay, so there's this one monster called the Anjanath in the game, and you cannot tell me that thing was not just completely inspired by the Tyrannosaurus Rex from Jurassic Park. Like,
mixed with the spitter from Jurassic Park.
It's those guys, but it also spits fire like a dragon. And yeah, that's basically how this game works, is a lot of the monsters are like that, or they're inspired by like extreme examples of evolution from like the Amazonian rainforests and stuff. Like you'll see a monster that has like a weird striped tail that's very bright, and you'll be like, oh, I bet that's dangerous. And yeah, sure enough, that striped tail can spit poison at you.
So what were some of your guys' favorite monsters in the game?
Oh, yeah.
I really like... Was it the Radaban? That was the big rock boy?
Oh, yeah.
That was the bone one.
Yes.
Radaban was the
one that had the bone spikes that rolls everywhere.
His body is basically oil and bone.
Yeah. That dude was like one of the first times I felt like really intimidated by a monster. Once I started feeling like I knew how to play the game, like I got to this area where I had to fight one by myself, and it was just like, oh my God, this thing is absolutely eating my whole ass.
Yeah.
The moment you see it, it has such a great entrance, because it's a force of nature in a new scary place for you, and all of a sudden it just rolls over you like it doesn't even know you're there.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one, and I also really enjoyed the is it Baranath? That was the
Baroth.
Yeah. They didn't make the coolest armor, but I really enjoyed their designs.
The Radaban armor is really cool. It makes you look like a big daddy.
Oh, is that the one that looks like the giant like bone space suit?
Yeah, I think it makes you look like a big daddy from BioShock, basically. Yeah,
like
I had that on my cat for a long time.
My favorite monster in the game that I've seen so far, because there's still monsters I haven't seen that I know exist in the game, but my favorite that I've seen so far, I just really like weird little guys. Like, it's one of my favorite things in video games. And the weird little guy in this game that I love is the Puke. And it is this crazy looking guy with these giant eyes, this horrible tongue. It spits purple poison at you. Its tail has poison in it as well, and it can basically, a gas cloud comes out of it. It's like it farts on you, basically. He's just like this weird little guy, and he's got wings and flies, and I just love him. I love him so much that, like, when I got to high rank, I finally decided, like, I'm going to commit to making the Puke armor alpha. And so now I finished that up today, and I'm really happy about having that armor. I just love that dude so much.
It's got like the face of a frog and the tail of perfect cell. Like, he's so crazy looking. I love that guy. That's definitely one of my top picks. If you come into our Discord,
I changed my profile picture to the Puke for now.
Well, I got to give a shout out to the Paolumu because it is like the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life.
It is cute.
It's basically, it's got the head of a bat, but then its neck is like one of those pillows you wear around your neck when you're like on an airplane or whatever, but it inflates out. It's just, I love that fucking guy. It's, like it's so really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super fuzzy. You just want to pet it.
He's adorable when
he's sleeping, too. The opposite of that, the one you wouldn't want to actually physically pet, but the one you want to pet in your spirit is the Otogoron, which is just a skinned dog, essentially.
That's one of the toughest monsters I fought. And
it's the nastiest looking thing you've ever seen when you see it, too, because it's right after Radabon, right after the nasty roly bitch that we're just talking about.
It's this horrible, like you said, dog with, like, rotting flesh, essentially. It's like a hellhound, what you'd picture when someone says hellhound.
Yes.
It's like,
I love that thing.
Yeah, it's monstrous and great.
It's great.
I always make armor off of it once I get to that monster. Just because, I love the aesthetic. I love the way the monster looks. I love the color. Like, everything about Otogoron, I just adore.
And the armor that comes off of it, at least in this game, I don't know about the other games, but it makes you look like kind of like a cinematic samurai wearing a really complicated, like, ritual costume.
So, Otogoron was new to this game, so he wasn't in any of the past games. I don't remember if they put him into Rise. Not during...
Does he have any, like, relation to any of the other monsters from earlier games, or is he, like, a new line entirely?
No, he's a new line entirely. I'm trying to think of who he comes close to being, and there's nothing. Like, he's definitely made up for this game. Tobi Kadachi, too.
Awesome. Yes! Oh, that's new to this one? Dude, Tobi Kadachi is awesome.
I can tell you which ones are new. It's actually most of them. The Kulu-Yaku is new. The Palamulu is new. The Tobi Kadachi and the Otogoron. And then one... I really did also want to shout out the Kulu-Yaku and the Tsitsi-Yaku that are basically, they're egg thief, like little egg thief raptors, like oviraptors. But the Kulu-Yaku looks like a chicken, and the Tsitsi-Yaku is like, it's more reptilian. It looks more like a Jurassic Park dinosaur, but it also has like, it can flare up these things on its head and spit like a photo flash that stuns everything in a cone around it. And it's like if the monster evolved into a chicken or if it evolved into a D&D monster, you know? And the Kulu will dig up a rock and like try to hit you with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hilarious. That thing just walks up and bops you in the head with it.
Yeah.
And I gotta shout out to the Great Jagras, because it's the first monster you fight in the game. It's kind of like Willie's made this comparison before, like the Glass Joe of Monster Hunter World, and I just really love his design. He's like, I would have one as a pet. Like,
dude, he's like an iguana with dreads.
Dude, he's awesome.
I think of him as a big lizard kitty. I love him.
Yeah.
But like, the first time you see him, he's pouncing on your handler. He's about to kill her. You're running for your life just to get away from him. And then soon enough, you're like on the track and you're like, you've leveled up enough that you're fighting it. You're now the hunter instead of the hunted.
And this game, I must say, does a great job of like, once you're able to figure out a monster, it becomes so much less scary. But the first time you run into it, you're like, oh my god, I'm never going to be able to kill this thing. Because the first time you see the Anjanath in the Great Forest, you're like, I cannot fuck with this thing. This thing will eat me alive. Like, I just ran from it, like, the first time I saw it, because like, the monsters will infight in this game a little bit. So I was hunting a Great Jagras, and the Anjanath just came up and started attacking the Great Jagras. Like, I should probably get out of here before he sees me.
Yeah, me and Willie did one earlier today that we were fighting, and a Great Jagras showed up, and the Anjanath grabbed that thing and just started slinging it around and slamming it on the ground like it was a toy.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
And imagine you seeing that. I mean, because isn't that basically what you see early on? Because like a lot of the early cutscenes are like, you see a badass monster that just did something fucked up, and then it immediately gets bodied by there's always a bigger fish.
And that happens a lot more frequently the more you get into the game and the higher level the monsters get.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
The cool thing, too, is just the progression in this game. It's like we said, you kill the monsters, you take their parts, and you can build better weapons and armor from those parts. So, like, the game constantly gives you a reason to keep pushing to beat these monsters more than once, so you can get enough parts to make the weapon that you can make from them, make the armor that you can make from them. And there's elemental advantages like you'd see in Pokemon that you're like, you start doing the math in your head. Okay, if I want to hunt this guy, I should get this part from this other monster so I can make this weapon to attack him. It just gives you so many interesting ways to go about building your character up and going out and fighting these monsters.
And it's cool that, like, hunting a monster gives you an armor set that will destroy that monster and a weapon that's useful for the opposite of that monster, you know?
Absolutely. So, yeah. So, do you guys have any other thoughts on the game, things that we haven't really touched on yet that you wanted to make sure that we kind of slipped in there before?
I wanted to say I thought the exploration was really satisfying because, like, you get a sense of the levels when you join each one, and you get an idea that, like, okay, this is the desert level, this is the woods level, or whatever. And just, like, they're way bigger than you expect, all of them. Like, I got to level the area 7 or area 11 of a map, and I'm like, okay, I've explored this map northeast to southwest. And what I didn't realize was, oh yeah, up has more.
Yeah.
And yeah, you mentioned that when you use the word verticality, and it's true of every level, because it's most obvious when you reach the Coral Highlands, because it gets higher the more you go northeast. But even in the ancient forest, there's like a massive treetop that hosts like a nest that the biggest monster in that area uses. And like the exploration is just incredibly satisfying. Hunting down, gosh, do you want to talk about Grimalkins?
I didn't really do much with them, so that'd have to be a you thing.
Yeah, I haven't really done much with them myself.
So, we mentioned earlier that you have a friend called a palico, which is just a cat that's like your equal partner in hunting. And there's also wild felines. Feline is the kind of genus, I guess, Felyne, obviously. But basically, Grimalkins, there's like tribes of them throughout the world. And if you meet them and make contact with them, your cat can speak to them. And when you're playing in low numbers of teammates, like... Oh, Lilith is here. Sorry, I just got stoked because I saw Lilith. But when you're playing in low groups, like if just a group of 1 or a group of 2, a Grimalkin can join you once you've befriended that troop. So, like, there's the troopers, there's the bug catchers, there's several groups of cats that you can, like, make friends with and basically have them as party members. I love the bug trappers the most because their guy can randomly throw shock traps and pitfalls at enemies, so you might get a free, like, capture out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened to me in a hunt I did recently where I was getting my butt kicked, and then suddenly, like, all these nets just come out of the ground, and they just, like, pull the monster literally into a pitfall. Like, they just drag him down, and I'm just like, oh, thanks, guys.
Yep. So... Sometimes if you befriend the bug trappers, even if they're not going to have a guy join you on the mission, they'll set up a little camp and blow a horn at you and be like, if you ride a monster here, we'll trap it. And then they'll do that to it if you like can mount it in the area.
This game just has all these really cool little interactions that I really like that I enjoy.
Yeah. Like, there's so much going on, and it's like, it really goes to show that if you have a very satisfying basic gameplay loop, all you gotta do is basically dress it up a little different and be like, okay, well, now you're hunting Anjaneth Alpha or whatever. Like, that's not literally what it does, but you know what I mean? Like, I care about hunting these monsters, just slightly upgraded versions of what I did all over again, because I want that new armor, you know? Because it feels good to fight, and I want to feel even better when I kill them faster.
However... that can get grindy as you progress through the game, because now all of a sudden monster drops are going to get more rare, specifically when you're like trying to get like that final weapon or armor upgrade. You're going to end up like having to use like a plate or something that usually has like a 3 to 5% drop rate, and so you could end up hunting the same monster 30 times, and I speak from experience, and just not get that one part you need to complete a set, and it will drive you out of your mind.
Yeah,
MMO 101, baby.
So we mentioned our friend Blitzy, who's kind of like the fifth member of this episode, honestly. And the fifth Beatle, he's Pete Best. Or wait, no, the good fifth Beatle is Billy Preston. Sorry, you're Billy Preston. You're not Pete Best. Anyway, so me and him were hunting Rathians because he said, I've been trying to get a Rathian marrow. I've killed 7 of them. There's a 30% chance it drops if you do this thing or this thing. So I should have a 56% chance of it dropping. I've killed 7. None have dropped. So I joined him. We hunted a Rathian. Yo, it dropped 2 marrow for me. Did you get any? No. Let's do another one then. Yo, it dropped 2 for me. Did you get any? No.
And you can't trade.
Yeah, that's the bummer.
Yeah, no, you cannot trade player to player. You can't trade an item. So, yeah, I'm over here getting, like, everything my friends want. I'm over here, like, it's happened vice versa, too, where I'm like, all I need is 1 Rathian Spike Plus, and everyone's like, yo, I got 4 Rathian Spike Plus. Please tell me you got one. Well, shit.
The community calls that the desire sensor.
The game knows what you want and wants to foil it, just like a cat. Beautiful.
All right. Anything else we want to touch on?
Do we want to talk very briefly about our experiences in multiplayer? Or do you think we covered that?
I feel like we kind of covered through that a lot, but we can...
Well, I was going to say, do you want me to touch on playing it by myself? Because I played most of this game by myself.
Yeah.
I feel like there has to be some sort of scaling that goes on in this game.
Yeah. If the more players you have, the stronger the monster gets, but a 4-player group gets the same stats as a 3-player monster. So if you have 3, it's the hardest it can be because you don't have palicos.
Okay, yeah. So
that's true.
A lot of this game, it wasn't as hard as I expected it to be. But again, I don't know if that's because I've just gotten better at dodging because of games that I've played and handling big creatures. I think I enjoyed it more playing with people, though. I was happy that there was fishing in it, although I've only done it a handful of times. I'm really bad at finding spots to fish, but it is in the game. But yeah, like when I was playing by myself, I pretty much golden pathed it.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't really do all the side stuff that I'm doing now that I'm playing with you guys and kind of running through side stuff. But I basically what I'm getting at is it is a viable solo experience, but probably better with
that
friends.
Makes sense to me. And you bringing up fishing makes me want to bring up one last thing. And there's like a whole thing you can do in this game. Just collecting creatures doesn't really do much for you, but there's the satisfaction of doing it. Like you can catch, like for instance, there's geckos. And you know me, I have a pet gecko in real life, so I want to catch these geckos in the game. So you have this little net where you can catch these small little creatures running around. And the cool thing is you have a room that you can decorate, and you can place those creatures in your room as pets. And I just really love that a lot. And the fish you catch, you can put in your aquarium. It's just really neat. I like that a lot.
That is cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, you could have the pets decorate your room. And that's another, like, cool part of the game is, like, there is that sense of customization. Like, there's a lot of just good points to this game. Like, room decorating, fishing, grinding, the gameplay loop, hunting, gathering. Like, it all kind of just comes together into a pretty neat little package.
Yeah. And speaking of customization, we kind of almost talked about this earlier, but, like, there are some things you can buy as DLC that are special costumes for stupid stuff, like your handler. So, like, the handler, you can get a bunch of different costumes for them. One that's really stood out to me that I didn't get, and if you listen to the Patreon, you'll kind of get why I liked this one, is you can dress it up like Mr. X from Resident Evil 2.
Yeah,
that's just
it's funny. It's so funny. But the one that I did go ahead and buy, and this was a $2 DLC, so I don't feel like I was too put out by it, but it'd be expensive if you bought a bunch of them. But I bought the one to let you dress your handler up like Chun-Li from Street Fighter, which is so funny and so good.
Here's what I want to know. Here's the real burning question, right? If you change your handler to Mr. X, do they have the same voice? So is it Mr. X like, hey, let's go on a mission?
Chun-Li did not change the voice, so I can only speak to that.
Oh, amazing.
I'm pretty sure the voice doesn't change.
That's awesome. I now want the Mr. X one more.
I'm pretty sure the costume also persists in, like, cutscenes.
Now I want the Mr. X one.
Yeah, because I've had her in the Bumblebee costume, and she looks stupid every time she had to talk, and it's very funny to me.
Imagine
Okay, so I do have a question. Does anyone have any hard Oh, yeah. Does anyone have any hard cons for this game, though? Like, shit that really turned you off? Because most of what we've been talking about has been, like, positives or just game mechanics discussed in general. Is there anything about this game that you think, especially those of you who played other games in the series, like, is there something that lets you down?
I mean, I can think of one, but it's not one that affects me now, but I know that it's going to affect me eventually.
Okay.
The gameplay loop is kind of samey.
Yeah.
So when it gets to the point where you're having to grind a monster like 50 times, let me tell you, been there, done that in MMOs, that's going to be the point where we're all like, okay, maybe we've had our time with monsters.
Yeah.
When it's like, oh, we need to go kill this Rathian for the 47th time.
Yeah.
And I've been there, and that's when I kind of start falling off of the game a little bit or taking breaks.
I do hope, though, that that's where also the social aspect of having a group to play the game with make it pick back up. Where you're like, okay, let's just go beat up this pinata again, you know?
Well,
and we'll just, like,
that's
joke.
The whole point, I think, of what Capcom is trying to do. Because if you're grinding and grinding and grinding for that one monster part, then there's probably 3 other people in the world that are doing the exact same thing. So why not get together and take care of it together? Make yourselves more efficient. And the hunts... I mean, they can be quick depending on your power level and what hunt you're doing, but they're not designed to be short things. Right. Like, to the point where, like, you can go back to camp and you can, like, go in a tent and you could sit and you could have, like, a cup of tea or whatever he's drinking and you, like, can change your item loadout, change your weapons. Like, they want you to treat it like an actual real life hunt to where you have to like find footprints and you know, spots where they might have scraped against the wall or like, you know, puddles that they were in, and that all gets registered into like a research bank until you can actually pick up the scent. So this is very, very much designed to be like an actual hunt in real life. It just then culminates in you hacking at the monster's legs.
And I will say that too, like, it gives you enough ways to skip through most of that initial tracking that after you've hunted a monster a couple times, I do not feel like I'm like knocking down trees and looking through brushes trying to find footprints. I look like I'm like, okay, flies, which way do I go?
Yeah, that's also true because like in past games, you had to like have a paintball in your inventory and you had to just wander the map aimlessly until you found the monster, and the monster was constantly on the move, and then when you found it, you had to huck the paintball at it, and that's how you knew where it was.
That being said, I appreciate this as a quality of life thing where I'm actually enjoying my time on the map instead of just dicking around.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it's a balance to strike, and I feel like they erred in the correct direction, in my opinion. But that's having only played World and not playing the previous one. So, more experienced players can call me a fucking noob. And that's fine. If you think I'm a new jack idiot because I like to hunt the monster while I'm hunting the monster instead of look for tracks all day, dead to rights, honestly. I'll admit that.
But as far as negatives go, I would honestly say the biggest negative is probably the grind when you get into later armor pieces. And also, you do hit a point in this game, and I know I'm the only one who actually went into the Iceborne content, but you do get to a point in this game where it's a hard solo wall. And so you have to then either get really good or you have to throw up an SOS flare or set it up for multiplayer or have friends to play with. Because you're just going to get to a point where you're going to be like, I could probably do this on my own, but I don't know that I want to be fighting for my life for 40 minutes. Let me get some people in to help me.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd have as good of a time with this game if I didn't have people to share it with. Like, me and Nate both began the game literally streaming content or character creation to someone else because we didn't want to feel alone entering this huge world, you know?
Yeah. I think my only con that I'm going to be able to see is, like you said, I don't think that this game gives you enough motivation or... Maybe motivation is not the right word, but it doesn't give you like the whole thing where it makes you want to try the different weapons because you get married to your first style of fighting, but then you realize how expensive it's going to be to rebuild for a different weapon class, and then the time it's going to go into learning that weapon class too.
Yeah, because I feel like I'm still honestly learning nuances of Sword and Shield after having more than 60 hours in the game. And this is the basic baby bitch weapon of the game. This is, hey, you've played a different video game before? This one will work. Lily, hey!
She's awake. So I'm just trying to pet her to keep her calm. Yeah. Continue.
Okay.
I think that's all I've got.
I was going to say, I think we're ready to start getting into ratings.
Yep.
Word up, then. Who would like to start? If you want, I think I'm going to give this the lowest score.
Sounds like it.
So, do you want me to go first?
Yeah, go nuts.
Don't you dare even think about getting my microphone, Missy. So, I enjoy this game. It is not something that I think I would seek out and play by myself, if not obligated for the show. But I may move it over to one of my other hard drives and keep it installed to play with you boys. Just might be take me a little longer to load into some maps. But
it's all good.
That being said, I did enjoy it, and it's getting a higher score than I would have given it because I played it with you guys and I enjoyed the camaraderie and everything. I'm going to give this a solid 7.5 Palicos out of 10 Palamutes.
I love Palamutes. I'm so glad I learned about that today.
He's my Palamute.
She's such a good girl. Look at her.
I do love that. Because I have a cat and a dog in real life, when I do play Monster Hunter Rise, I designed the Palico to be just like my cat, and I designed the Palamute to be just like my dog. So it's like I'm going through the game with my real world animals. That's kind of cool.
That is cool.
That's so sweet.
So I kind of want to go last.
Okay.
Right. Well, then let's go.
Nate, do you have a strong opinion?
All right. Yes. So for me, here's the thing. The difference between me and Dalton is Dalton played most of the single player. I played most of it multiplayer. I think I would have had a worse time as well if I had gone through the single player for the most part. Playing this multiplayer, I had a blast. I was on calls with Willie, Blitz, Dalton, Mikhailov, all of us just playing this game together, and I really enjoyed that, just goofing off and coming together for the cause to build what I wanted to build or what anybody else wanted to build. We could all just rotate who was doing what, and it was a really good time. I had so much fun playing this game. If I had played the solo, it would be a much lower score. So, for me, I'm giving this game a 9 Gloom Geckos out of 10 Puke Puke.
All right. Willie, what about you, my good sir?
I think I mentioned that I have 60-something hours in this game. That should have been a spoiler. This game is one of the few games that I've promoted from the podcast lists on my Steam organization to the games you play all the time list, and I made sure to knock 5 other games out of there just to make sure that it would show up on the first screen. Monster Hunter World is the game I've been most wrong about in the longest time. I watched video of it. I thought it looked boring. I hated watching people play it that weren't me. Then I played it, and it fucking rules. It helps a lot that I had people to jump me in. I had veteran players that I could, bounce thoughts off of that would make me feel comfortable about early game decisions, because I always get analysis paralysis in big games like this. But playing this game, knowing I had Mikhailov to resort to, knowing that Blitzy was there to help me, and knowing that Nate and Dalton were there on my back with, we're all arm in arm, we're all running the game together. I just kept on marching forward until it was like running on training wheels till I didn't need the training wheels. And then the wheels fell off the bike and I just kept paddling the frame and I flew over the goddamn moon with this fucking thing. I love this game. This game rules. I'm giving this a perfect 10 out of 10.
Wow. All right. Mikhailov.
So it's very hard for me to be objective with this game, considering my absolute adoration for the series as a whole. So I think what I need to do is I need to take the couple of little cons that are with that and kind of put that into my score. And the cons that I have with this game are cons that I have with the series as a whole, because they've kind of not done much to address that. It's like they're still married to that certain specific gameplay loop. But overall, this is a very fun game. I am thrilled that all of you liked it, some more than others, but that it's something that you guys are willing to go back to and continue to play, because I have been looking for Monster Hunter buddies for a very long time. Go ahead, Will.
I cannot overstate. When you say willing to, I'm more along the lines of I am basically sitting at my computer waiting for someone to go, hey, you want to hunt monsters so I can quit whatever the fuck else I'm doing and go play this game?
I'm sorry to cut everybody off, but like, Willie, me, and Blitz got really into Deep Rock Galactic for quite a few months. This game felt like that again to me, like how much I was enjoying playing that with people.
Yeah, we haven't even touched Deep Rock Galactic in a long time.
Yeah, no, this makes me so happy, because I was really worried that it was going to go the other way with the 3 with you, and you were going to hate this game that I love so much. And don't get it twisted. I was perfectly prepared to hate this game. I was primed to hate it. I wanted to drill on it and be like, okay, this combat's so unsatisfying. It just feels like an RPG where you're hitting attack buttons. Oh, it's a fake Souls game because you're rolling around, but it doesn't feel like there's any real threat. And then I got in the steering wheel, and my God, I am so happy to be proven wrong. And I don't think it's any of those things. I think it's its own beast entirely. For no pun intended, actually, that time. So let me just go ahead and go in with my rating. It does have a couple shortcomings, so I don't want to give it a perfect 10, but I'm going to get very, very close just because of how thrilled I am that every single one of you like this game. And so I'm going to give it 9.8 dung out of 10 dung pots.
Right.
All right. That's the highest rated piece.
And I'll be the fifth. I'll be the 5th beetle on that dung.
All right. I guess. Go ahead, Dalton.
I was gonna say, you said dung, and it made me think. The other day I went to the Gainesville, and I went to the Florida Natural History Museum there, and they had a big, like, made out of metal shaped type thing, and it was a big dung beetle with a big giant metal ball of dung, and I was like, well, that's cool. This thing was like massive. Nice. It was bigger than Louie. Look at that little smile.
That's some shit.
That's baby.
Yeah, dude. It was also cool that they had an insect in there on display that I currently had sitting in my backyard when I left my house.
Wow.
Yeah, the wheel bug was
that thing. So they're also known as the assassin bug.
That's a cool fucking name.
They eviscerate caterpillars, and they're hardcore. And apparently, if they bite you, it hurts like a motherfucker. So if you see them, don't touch them. I mean, they look like you shouldn't touch them. They do. They're like Satan's little pal, but they're cool little things. What? How is that big yawn? All right, are we ready to move on to some?
Yeah, let's reach into the mailbag here. Our first question of the week. I think this one's been sitting for a couple episodes. So Jeff, here you go. This one comes in from Jeff. So the final question for this category: the first game you played for these consoles. So the Sega Master System. I don't think I've ever played the Master System.
Phantasy Star.
Alien Syndrome.
Nice.
Probably Sonic the Hedgehog 1 in one of those PlayStation 2 emulated collections.
Okay. The Sega Genesis / Mega Drive.
So, maybe you guys can help me on this. Don't remember the name of it, but I played it at a friend's house because I didn't have a Genesis growing up. But it was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game.
Was it Tournament Fighters or...
It was... I just remember it was multiplayer and it was like a brawler.
Hyperstone
or maybe
Heist.
I'm thinking...
Hyperstone Heist,
that must have been what it was. Because he had a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game for his Super Nintendo and for his Genesis.
That was Turtles in Time. Turtles in Time was a Super Nintendo one, for sure.
So we played the Super Nintendo one more, but I do remember the Genesis, because I remember looking at the controller and being like, whoa.
Hyperstone Heist is basically Turtles in Time, but bad.
Fair.
That's valid.
So for the Genesis, I have a hard time remembering because we got that system It was
it's the Lion King.
The Pac-In game.
The Lion King was the Pac-In game we had.
The first game I played on my Game Gear.
Nice.
Oh, shit, that's the next question.
Mikhailov.
My bad, I didn't read ahead.
Well,
so
great segue.
So Genesis and Game Gear are the same for me. It's Sonic.
Okay.
It was Sonic 1 for the Game Gear, Sonic 1 for the Genesis. But I may have told the story on the podcast before, but I was big into Power Rangers as a kid. So I just remember plugging in my Game Gear into a wall outlet and using the sound test in Power Rangers the movie for Game Gear to play music in the background while I had my actual action figures fight each other.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
That is the best shit, dude. That's childhood right there. Fuck yeah.
And if you want to segue into Game Gear, I had 4 games for Game Gear. I had Lion King. I had Power Rangers, the same game you're talking about. I had Sonic 2. Sonic 2 is the one with the cart level, right?
The Ant Lion boss.
Yeah. And then I had the game that I didn't play, but my dad really liked, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine.
Nice.
Great game.
Yeah.
I appreciate that now as an adult.
Same game as Kirby's Avalanche or Puyo Puyo. It's a fantastic puzzle game. I honestly like it more than Dr. Mario, maybe less than Tetris, but it's up there.
I just appreciate that they
too.
put that reference in the Sonic 2 movie.
Yeah, that was really good.
And Sonic Mania, the game, the Sonic Mania, Sonic Mean Bean Machine
there's a
level is
boss
so
fight.
fun.
Oh, I didn't even know there was a
The boss fight of Chemical Plant Zone Act 2, I believe, is you're playing Mean Bean Machine versus Dr. Robotnik.
Okay, that's kind of funny.
My first Game Gear game, I'm pretty sure it was just not actually on a Game Gear, but in a compilation later of just Sonic the Hedgehog 2, probably.
Yeah, mine was certainly one of the Sonic games, trying to compare and contrast it to the Master System version.
All right. So that takes us into the Sega Saturn. And this is one I kind of vividly remember, because I remember the only time I really ever played a Saturn was at a display at a Toys R Us. And the game that I played on that was Panzer Dragoon.
That's kind of the one that everyone thinks about when they think about Saturn.
Yep.
So,
I mean, the game I think of when I think of Saturn is Nights into Dreams.
That's the
but
other
I do
one.
think the one I played on Saturn that I remember the best was actually, because I remember the actual way the controller felt in my hand, but it was one of the Virtua Fighter games. Because I remember I didn't really like Virtua Fighter at the time. It took me a while to come around to Virtua Fighter. I didn't like it when Sega was still making consoles.
the first Saturn game I ever played was for this show, and it was Nights into Dreams.
Nights. Hell yeah.
I never owned a Saturn. I don't think I've ever seen one in person.
How far back is Nights in the Dreams?
It was, I think it was one of the earlier ones when we were on the show, right?
A year and a half ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Was it really that short?
It was definitely, it was after me and Nate joined the show, but it wasn't very recent.
Bro, the show will be 4 years old in a little over, less than a week.
I'm pretty sure Nights into Dreams was one of my first host picks.
I think so.
Yeah.
But, alright, and that just leaves the Sega Dreamcast.
I vividly remember playing The House of the Dead at a friend's house with a light gun.
I don't really remember playing the Dreamcast too much when it was new. Obviously, I want to say it was probably Sonic Adventure because that's one of my favorite Dreamcast games. But it might have been Sega Bass Fishing, if I'm being real. I'm not sure.
It wasn't Seaman?
No, it was not Seaman.
What a weird.
For me, it was also Sonic Adventure 1, but it was because I went over a friend's house and he had a Dreamcast. At this point, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle had already come out on the GameCube.
Okay.
So I was already enthralled with that game, to then realize that a game came before it, and it was a lot more rough around the edges. But Sonic Adventure 1 was still a phenomenal game for the time period.
I know Cap like it better than Sonic Adventure 2, and I like it better than Mario 64 now.
Oh, I agree. I think it's definitely better than Mario 64. I would also, argue that it had better level design than Adventure 2.
I 1000% agree.
Just the beach level, right off the bat, with the music and the atmosphere and everything like that. The soundtrack.
It's fucking iconic. You can't make a 3D Sonic game without referencing that level.
Exactly. Even the soundtrack was just better.
Yeah, I agree.
The only thing 2 really had was Shadow.
Yeah. Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
All right.
real quickly, I remember my first Dreamcast game, and then I'm going to walk out real quick and take her outside real quick. But my buddy had a Dreamcast, and he had 2 games for it. One, I can't even remember what it was. I think it was like a Jet Grind Radio or something like that. But
great game.
The one that I think we played first, because I was like, I want to play that, Mortal Kombat Gold.
Great game as well.
Fantastic version of Mortal Kombat. I will be right back.
We'll continue. All right, so I'll bring in the next question in if he gets back in.
I'm just surprised no one said Mortal Kombat, or not Mortal Kombat, fucking Crazy Taxi. We didn't get any,
I mean, The Offspring. I do like Crazy Taxi, but I'm terrible at Crazy Taxi. I can't figure out how to get good at Crazy Taxi. So I'll typically play
I like the idea of Crazy Taxi more than playing Crazy Taxi.
I'll typically play it for like 10 minutes and be like, I'm done with this.
The main thing is that Offspring song whips ass.
It does. Unfortunately, it's not even a game that I could test for YouTube content because copyright. Like, if I test it, I have to take the sound out.
All right, this next one comes in from Jeremy. No, it doesn't. This one comes in from Adam. It is a picture, so I'm posting it in the chat. And it is, you have $15 to build your dream Switch 2 launch year lineup. How are you spending your money? So $15. For $5, you could get Super Smash Brothers, Mario Kart, Super Mario, Legend of Zelda, or Pokemon. For $4, you can get Metroid, Animal Crossing, Donkey Kong, Splatoon, or Fire Emblem. For $3, you can get Luigi's Mansion, Star Fox, Kirby, Paper Mario, or Xenoblade Chronicles. For $2, Pikmin, Yoshi, Mario Party, Mario Sports, or F-Zero. And for $1, you get Pilot Wings, Rhythm Heaven, Punch-Out, Style Savvy, or WarioWare. So I already know exactly what I'm picking, so I'll go ahead and throw mine out there. For $5... So for mine, I'm taking 2 from the $5, 1 from the $4, and 1 from the $1. So what I want to take is Mario Kart. I need Mario Kart 9. Like, I love Mario Kart 8, but that came out in 2014. Give me a new Mario Kart. Then I also want a new Super Mario Brothers game. Like, I want a 3D one, like a new Odyssey type game. For $4, I want a new Donkey Kong game. It has been far too long since we've seen Donkey Kong have a mainline game. And then $1, and I would have paid $5 for it. I am ready for a new Punch-Out. It's been since the Wii since we've had a Punch-Out entry, and I would love to see that again.
Yeah, I feel like Punch-Out is your value pick here, honestly. I mean, I'm looking at this and just building, just straight through my own heart and soul, is... I'm spending $4 on Metroid, $3 on Star Fox, so I'm at 7, $3 on Kirby, $2 on, you know what, I think Mario Sports, like, it says Mario Sports, but what I'm actually going to replace that with is fucking Wii Sports, like the Switch Sports, Wii Sports type games. And then put the last dollar on Rhythm Heaven and Punch-Out.
All right, I guess I'll go next. I'm going to spend $5 on Pokemon. I'm going to spend another $5 on Zelda, because I'll probably then, take the opportunity to go through another Breath of the Wild-like game.
I genuinely don't know what the next generation of Zelda could look like. Like, the shadow you're living in the Breath of the Wild games is going to be insane. Yeah. That has changed the series as much as Ocarina did,
I think I mentioned this on our podcast. Yeah, they changed the formula, and then they changed it again with Breath of the Wild. So this is going to be the formula going forward for a while.
Yeah.
So that's $10 I got right there. I will spend $1 on Punch-Out. That brings me to 11.
You don't want to do it just because you like us.
No. I am also a big fan of Punch-Out Wii. To the point where, like, if I can emulate it and get the motion controls emulated properly, I'll play it on my Steam Deck or on a handheld, just because I really like that version of Punch-Out. It didn't have a fair shake. I think it came out at the end of the Wii's life cycle, too. I'll do... What am I at, 11?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to spend $3 on Star Fox because it's been way too long since we've had a Star Fox game. So that puts me at 14, which means I got one more dollar to spend.
WarioWare's staring you straight in the face, I feel like.
No, because lightning has not struck twice with WarioWare for me. Every time a WarioWare game comes out now, I'm just like, ugh.
Fair enough. The only one I played was the Game Boy one on this little system.
I will go back to the Game Boy Advance version of WarioWare any day. But the newer ones, gimmicky. But I will put $1 into Pilot Wings because why not?
Yeah, worth a shot, frankly.
What's that?
I said worth a shot, frankly.
Because I don't know when we last got a Pilot Wings game. Was it 64?
I think so.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'd like to see them freshen that up a little bit.
Word.
Yep.
Does that leave me?
That leaves you.
Okay, I was gonna say I didn't want to jump in on anybody's. Okay. Easy for me. Animal Crossing, Fire Emblem, Xenoblade Chronicles, Pikmin, Mario Party.
Cool.
Wow.
Like it.
Good choices.
Yeah, I felt bad about not picking a Xenoblade Chronicles game, but I really enjoyed what I played of one, and I looked at the aesthetics of the other games of the series, and I'm like, this can't be the same fucking game.
I also felt bad about not picking Animal Crossing or Kirby, but by the same token, I only spend a limited amount of time with Animal Crossing and Kirby, whereas Pokemon and Zelda, I will spend forever.
Yeah. All right. Our next question comes in from Jeremy, which is, you can only pick 2, picture posted. The options are $25,000 a month for life, a 4-day work week, a 100% remote job, an 800 credit score, retire by 40, or no bills.
Okay, so I think we have to make sure that $25,000 a month for life isn't an annuity you just get for free without working, because otherwise that you pick that and you don't need any other work. I think that's just saying that's the pay you get for your job.
I think the easy answer for me is $25,000 a month for life and no bills, because $25,000 a month is a lot of money. I have a good paying job. I don't make anywhere near that much. And no bills. I don't have to pay anything. And I already have a 100% remote job. My credit score is not 800, but it's high enough that I don't have to worry about a credit score. So I don't need to worry about those two at all. $25,000 a month, I could work it. So, retiring by 40 is not going to happen for me because I'm already 38, 37, whatever it is I am. So...
It's literally, though, it's a cheat code thing. I'm taking 1 in 5. I'm taking $25,000 a month and retire by 40, because that means in 7 months I don't have to do anything, but I get $25,000 a month for some reason.
And I'm going to pick 1 in 5 as well, because I'm 43. So in addition to that 25...
you get a back pay.
I was going to say, I get that back pay.
Nice. All right. So let me throw the next one in. This one is from Jeff. It is pick your night. And your options are... Night 1 is you have the GameCube with Super Smash Bros., Pikmin, and Mario Kart, Doritos, and Chicken McNuggets. Night 2... Cool Ranch, thanks.
Doritos Cool Ranch.
Night 2...
that one's off the table right off the bat.
Night 2, you get a PlayStation 2 with Vice City and San Andreas, Nacho Cheese Doritos, and a large pizza from Domino's. Option 3, you get a Nintendo 64 with Mario Kart 64, Super Smash Bros., and GoldenEye, and Pizza Hut. And for number 4, you get a Wii U with Super Mario Maker, Pikmin 3, Super Mario 3D World, and Super Mario Bros. Cereal. Honestly, number 3 is just my childhood, and I would love to relive that. So, let's give you the 64 and Pizza Hut. Let's go. Those games. Those 3.
Yep. I've got a friend who always says, you're a teenager, your friends are over on a Friday night, you've got a Nintendo 64, a copy of GoldenEye, 4 controllers, and your mom just ordered pizza, and you don't know that this is the best life is ever gonna be. So, yeah.
All right, N64 team is 3 out of 4. What do you got, Dalton?
Is it any surprise to anybody?
Nope.
On the PS2?
I knew you were going to.
I was an only child, right? So give me that Domino's, give me some Doritos, nacho cheese, and give me some San Andreas.
I knew it.
That's so fucking valid, dude. That is legit.
And only call me in an emergency.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. My phone's on vibrate. Wait, we don't even have phones. It's fucking 2005, 2009.
Sign in AOL so nobody can get a hold of me.
Yeah.
How old do you
Sign in
think
AOL.
that is? There were cell phones in 2005, and AOL was already on its way out.
I didn't have a cell phone until a little later than 2005,
I was
my dude.
grown up.
Wait, no, I did.
You were in college.
I was paying my.
I
I was paying my own
It was a
cell phone
prepaid,
bill
but it
in
was a phone.
2005.
I was 13.
It was a prepaid. It was a flip phone. It was a prepaid flip phone. That
I had a
worked
Nokia that I went on eBay and made a PayPal account just so I can have a Sonic the Hedgehog case for my Nokia phone.
You're such a champ. I love that.
Right.
And when
I hope that didn't sound sarcastic because I genuinely did love that.
I'm glad because like everyone would be like, "How did you get that Sonic case?" And I was like, eBay.
All right.
I bought on eBay.
Shout out to Retrogue.
Our next question comes in from Adam, who asks, if you had to keep a monster you hunted as a pet, which one would you like?
Oh, Mr. Fluffy Buns.
The Palomalu?
Palomalu. I keep wanting to say Palamu, but yeah, Palomalu.
It's Palumu. We're saying Palumalu because it's the name of a football player, and it's funny to us.
I call him Troy. Mine, I would keep the Toby Kadachi because I feel like I could climb on his back and ride him as he glided like a flying squirrel through the forest.
That would be really cute and fun.
I'm going to keep the Otogara.
You crazy bastard.
Flesh dog.
I'm sure he's heartbroken.
I would keep Kulu Yaku. I'm sure I can fix him. I know he's a bad boy, but I can fix him.
Nice. All right. The next question is also from Adam. Do you prefer hunting monsters or catching monsters? So killing or catching. I think the obvious answer for me is catching because you get more and better parts if you catch it rather than kill it.
And you also end the hunt quest. You also end the hunt
True.
quicker.
Yeah. I feel like they may have fucked up the balance on this because honestly, it is, as long as you bring like 2 items with you, easier to catch than to kill. Like, and you get to avoid the last phase of the combat essentially. So you also get to avoid the part where you're feeling really bad that the thing is clearly dying and crying, and you're still hitting it with a big old sword.
Right.
I'm going to answer this in a different way because I think he meant like monster hunting or monster catching because we've played monster catching games. That's how I read it, at least. And I'm going to say monster catching. I just prefer the Mon games that we've played over this.
Yeah,
that's
fair. Okay.
I wasn't sure where Adam was going with that question. If he meant like, do you prefer Monster Hunter or Pokemon, or do you prefer killing the monster versus catching the monster? I guess it could go either way.
I honestly think I'm enjoying this game more than traditional beat the monster until it gets to 70% health and then throw a ball at it type
I wonder
games.
if you guys...
Like, I'm glad we had this instead of Pal
I
World.
wonder really if you would like the Monster Hunter stories.
I don't know. We'll find out.
It's a turn-based Monster Hunter where you make friends with the monsters.
Yeah.
It's basically Pokemon.
If the question is like a Pokemon type versus a Monster Hunter type, I will go Pokemon too, personally.
I think I preferred this more. I'd really rather actually fight and feel like I've got direct contribution to what's going on. I'd like to feel like I could learn the mistake I made last time and play it better instead of I need to go fight, a fucking caterpillar for 10 minutes so that I get stronger monster.
Fair enough. All right. And
I would rather personally gain in strength than let a little CPU character gain in
the
strength.
next question is also from Adam. Is which monster in world has the coolest design?
Ooh, coolest design specifically. Not your favorite, not the most powerful or cutest, but the coolest.
Yeah, I was going to say Anjanath as well. That's my answer too.
Anjanath? Yeah.
I can't...
Anjanath is just... What if you took a T-Rex and made it better in 2 different directions?
See, I would also say Odogaron, but I can't say what I really want to say because it would be a spoiler for you guys, and I legit...
Well, you know what? I'm going to go with... I'll put Odogaron as mine, so you can say whatever you want.
No, I can't, because it's a spoiler for you guys, and Oh, no, it's not. We fought the Zoro-Magdaros, right? Okay, so it's the Nergigante that was on top of it.
Yeah.
Never mind. I forgot we did that part together.
Yeah, the darkest dragon. I don't know exactly anything about it yet, but God, I want to learn more.
I love the Nergigante. Actually, there was a point back in 2018 when the game came out, where I would legit just like put the Jilly Mantle on and just stalk the thing just so I could learn its habits. And the thing is a big giant puppy. It just like would sit on the floor, like scratch one of his things off, and just kind of vibe. And then I showed up to ruin.
Unfortunately, you don't get a lot of chances to meet Nergigante yet in this game, so we can't really stalk it.
It's also the reason behind Undertaker's worst match at WrestleMania.
Oh, that took me a moment. El Gigante?
Yeah. Elegante. El Gonzalez.
Giant
Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Oh, Giant Gonzalez. That's it.
I'm too tired to respond.
This next question comes in.
It's a wrestling joke. We don't need you to.
Adam. And is the Iceborne expansion ever on the cards? That's an interesting question because it is DLC for the game. We kind of played the game through already. I don't know necessarily that it would be for the show, but I might end up buying it sooner rather than later, depending.
Honest to God, my current answer is I want to play Iceborne and I don't want to play it for the show because I don't think Dalton is going to get enough out of it to really make it worthwhile. If Nate goes, hey, you want to play Iceborne with me? I will join him in it. And if not, it won't happen. But several of your hosts will be playing Iceborne.
I have Iceborne and I've already played a little bit into it. So I'd be more than happy to play some Iceborne.
Sweet.
And if Dalton does want to join us, we'll fucking absolutely.
I was going to say, man.
Yeah, what the heck, Willie?
Dude, we just thought. I'm sorry. God, shit.
What do you think, Dalton?
Fuck.
I mean, it's something that I'd be interested in. I think it's a bit ways off because I think the Iceborne stuff is like past even in-game stuff. So, it's the whole other level. But I think, if it were to get to that point, then that's the obvious next step is to check out the next, instead of like moving on to Rise. Just.
Do you think you'd want to do it for the show, or do you think?
So my understanding is,
I guess that depends on how well this episode goes over and how much people liked hearing us talk about Monster Hunter. Because if they liked it, then why not?
Yeah. So my understanding is, if I'm understanding it right, like the beginning of high rank is basically like if it was a Final Fantasy game, we hit level 26, and then level 51 would be the beginning of Iceborne.
God, I would almost say higher than that because. Man, I hit the wall something hard in Iceborne right now.
Well, unfortunately, I can't compare it to 11 or 14 because I don't play MMOs because I do love myself at least a little bit.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of a game where you would hit a hard wall, and I'm struggling to come up with one, but think of the game that you like had to stop and back off from because there was that one part you just could not get past. And you had to really plan for it. Yeah. Like...
I never beat Mr. Sandman 2 on stream. Shit, I need to do that soon, don't I? Fuck. Let's set that up. Sometime soon I need to stream Punch-Out! It'll probably already be done by the time this episode comes out.
That game hits a hard wall once you beat the main campaign and you get the hard mode.
That's why I call it Great Jagras Glass Joe title defense, because once you get back in there, all of a sudden he can fight again.
Right.
Next question comes in. I'm going to skip around a little bit so it's not Dalton, Jeff, Dalton, Jeff. So the next question comes from Jeff, which is, pick a sandwich. And here are your options. We have a grilled cheese sandwich, a turkey sandwich, a BLT sandwich, or a club sandwich.
That club is tasty as fuck looking, no question.
Yeah, so there is an easy answer for me. And that is like, okay, I could get the turkey sandwich, or I could get the BLT, or I can get the club and have both on one. So I'm just going to get that club. That club is beautiful.
I'll take the club sandwich. I'm taking the club as well. I'll just take whatever condiments are on it off, and then I'm good to go, baby.
Hell yeah, boys. We should start a club. Let me ask you something. How do you feel about Frilly Toothpick?
For 'em.
I'm for
'em. Good answer, boys. All right. Next question is from Dalton, and it is... pick 3 cereals. I'm going to post that in chat. There you go. So the cereals are Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Lucky Charms, Cocoa Puffs, Frosted Flakes, Cocoa Pebbles, Cheerios, Fruity Pebbles, Reese's Puffs, Apple Jacks, Cap'n Crunch, with Crunch Berries it appears, Rice Krispies, Fruit Loops, Mini Wheats, Trix, Cookie Crisp, and Raisin Bran. And those are frosted Mini Wheats for the record. So I know which ones I'm taking. I gotta have me those frosted mini wheats because they help you poop and they taste delicious. You got the Reese's Puffs because like that's honestly dessert in a bowl. Like, And then I am a big fan of Marbits, so give me those Lucky Charms.
I was afraid I was going to just double you up, because the mini wheats and Reese's Puffs are obviously going to happen, but I actually think I'm also going to take the Raisin Bran, because I'm old.
So,
also, I would have taken Grape Nuts if it was on the chart, and everyone else will kill me.
So I'm going Lucky Charms because that's just like a favorite of mine for years. I eat all of the cereal and then I eat the marshmallows. Like I eat like in bites until it gets to the point where there's just one layer.
I do the exact same thing.
And then I'm eating
I did the exact same thing. Yeah. And then you drink that delicious milk afterwards.
Yeah, buddy. I currently have a big bag of it sitting on my refrigerator, so I'm going to go with Cocoa Pebbles. Because I love Cocoa Pebbles over Cocoa Puffs any day of the week. That is just a thing. They are better. If you want Puffs, get Reese's Puffs. Like, that's just my opinion. But it's the right one. And then as far as a cereal that helps you poop, as much as I do really, really love Frosted Mini Wheats, I really, really like Raisin Bran with some banana in it. So I'm going to go Raisin Bran. But
I didn't get the Mini Wheats to poop. I didn't get the mini wheats because I have poop problems. I got the mini wheats because they look like little hay bales, and you can like imagine like you're a Godzilla eating hay bales. It's like
go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's like when you're like eating broccoli and you're a child and you're like, okay, I'm Godzilla and I'm eating the top of the tree.
Shout out to, like I said, Rice Krispies, but also shout out to blueberry mini wheats. Blueberry frosted mini wheats are so good.
Hell yeah. What
about you, Mikhailov? What's your cereal preference?
So, none of the ones on that list. Because if you take Special K chocolate and Banana Nut Crunch and you mix them together in a bowl, it is like you are eating the cereal version of banana bread.
Ooh, I do.
That sounds awesome.
I do like Special K, and I do like me some Honey Nut Crunch and those types of cereals, especially the almond one. Delicious.
Yeah. A big shit fan of Honey Bunch of Oats too.
All right, it's getting kind of late, boys, so I'm going to drop a couple more questions, and we'll move into wrap up. So, our next question comes in from El Jefe, Jeff. And it's a blue pill versus a red pill. The blue pill, you get the Johto starters. The red pill, you get the Sinnoh starters. So those who don't know, Johto starters are Totodile, Chikorita, and Cyndaquil. And the red pill and the Sinnoh starters are Piplup. My God, my brain stopped working on this. Chimchar. That's my favorite of them. Why can't I think of his name? Turtwig. Thank you. Fuck. For me, as much as I do like Turtwig, obviously I forgot his name, so that should give you a little bit of help on which one I'm going to pick. I hate Chikorita, one of my least favorite starters of all time. But Totodile and Cyndaquil are amazing. So I am still taking the blue pill, and we'll just let Cyndaquil burn up the the Chikorita.
Yeah.
Nice.
And dead agreement to exactly every word Nathan said. Totodile is amazing. Cyndaquil, like, look at him. He was so happy. And he's just a little fucking hedgehog fire guy. He's great. I love him. I like Cyndaquil more. I like Cyndaquil more than you guys, I think, even. I'm cool. I'm blue. Just straight blue.
My first Pokemon game was Gold. My first starter ever was Totodile. I'm going blue pill as well.
For Alligator Gang, let's go!
So I'll be the odd one out, and I will take the red pill because I really like Chimchar, really like Piplup. Turtwig can go pound. Sorry, Nate. However, that said, I like the Johto games better than the Sinnoh games.
Valid.
Who's this from again? Fuck you, Dalton.
This is mean. Yeah, this is mean, because there are like 6 of my favorite movies of all time on this list. And obviously I'm going to go with The Princess Bride. It is my favorite movie of all time, but you've made me choose that over Hellraiser and Predator, you bastard. Yeah. Lost Boys is there. Lost Boys is like going to be the not even bronze medal in all 4 of our lists, and that's hilarious. No, Dirty Dancing is honestly, yeah. Lost Boys isn't even playing for 4th place because Dirty Dancing fucking whips ass too.
Yeah, I have to pick one? What's wrong with you?
Well, you've got 1 Predator, 1 Princess Bride. I mean, you don't have to choose based on our answers, but that's...
I'm going to pretend that the 4 movies that we choose, we can all watch together. So
that's cheating, but it's a fun cheat. So
I'm gonna do RoboCop.
Nice. Okay, I'm gonna say this.
you.
I might have had my mic turned all the way down when I was talking just then, so my answer was Predator. And sorry for the recording issues there, Dalton.
Oh,
no, you're fine. You got.
I know we heard you. Now you're super loud.
But yeah, you're okay.
Hopefully,
normalization should cover it.
So I was torn between 2, and because Mikhailov picked one of the ones that I was torn between, as much as I love RoboCop, I have only seen the movie that I'm picking a handful of times, but it has stuck with me as like one of the best movies I've ever seen, and that would be Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh, well, I guess wrong. I was over there doing the sexy sax man from Lost Boys.
No, I love John Candy. Like, he's one of my favorite actors.
Yeah.
So Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Tremendous.
Taken from us too soon.
Agreed. Absolutely.
Yeah. Just imagine, just for a second, what kind of movies we would have today if John Candy, Chris Farley, and Robin Williams were still alive.
Shit.
Yeah, it'd be tremendous, dude.
They would either be awesome or they would all just be random Exalt characters in fucking Marvel's fucking Inhuman 7 or
I
whatever.
want to see John Candy's character from one of his famous movies become a porn star in the sequel and call it Uncle Buck 2.
Uncle Buck was a fun movie.
That's a great movie.
All right.
What's his name? Bug. Really? What's his last name? Spray?
All right. And our final question for the night comes in from our dear Mikhailov, who asks to Willie, what was the moment you realized you finally got good?
The moment I hit shield attack, backstep, forward attack, rising attack, jumped up, and landed a perfect mount on that Rathalos, I realized, oh yeah, I'm a fucking cowboy. Let's go. I'm good. You're good. We're all good. This Rathalos ain't good no more.
For audio listeners, the look on his face was priceless when he said that. Like, I have never seen such a more confident, handsome man in all my life.
And shout outs to Connor and Jeff. You have a few questions that we will pick up on the next episode, which I'm sure Dalton will let us in on soon.
We're old.
So Dalton, if you want to take us into the wrap-up section and the next game, I would love to hear it.
Yeah, man. So before we get into the house cleaning, it is time for me to announce the next game that we're going to play. It's one that I've wanted to play for a while. It's a game that I think that you guys will enjoy, even if it's not the most graphical powerhouse there is, because this game did originally come out for the PS4 and the PlayStation Vita. That being said, there's going to be a game in the middle. So before I tell you what the game that we're going to play is, in 2 weeks, we are doing something a little different. We're going to pull the short game poll, and we're going to play Sega Bass Fishing. But because of the vehemence that you will hear on the episode about that game, we're also going to play my brain blanked on the name of it, Fishing Sim World Pro Tour. So we're going to just compare an old school fishing game to a newer school fishing game, and that'll be what we do for the next episode. But
guys, I hope y'all are enjoying all the fishing content this year.
Yeah.
You guys are just fishing for a good
This
game.
is the hunting.
We are.
We're on the hunting and fishing block, you know?
We are. And so my pick for my choice, it's time for us to take a little ride on a boat, boys, and maybe shipwreck up onto an island and figure out what's going on there and how to get off. And we are going to do that with our trusty friend Doji and the party members that we meet along the way. And this will be y'all's introduction to the adventurer, the sailor, the man known as Adol Christian, because we are going to play Ease 8 Lacrimosa Donna.
I'm excited for that one.
Oh my god. Of all the RPGs you could have picked, Ease was the one I was really hoping you would say, actually.
Yeah,
I'm
just glad.
so hyped for this that I'm coming back.
Yes, and Mikhailov will be back for that one in a month. And I really look forward to it, man. Like when you guys get into where the game opens up and Sunshine Coastline starts playing, it is one of the most epic songs to start an adventure that I've ever heard, and it's just so good. And it's Neon Falcom, so the music is going to slap.
I trust them implicitly.
I promise.
Let's go.
And it's going to be a good time, and I think it's a good entry point because it's one of the newer Ys games, but it was still a Vita game, so you're not getting like good crisp graphics, but the gameplay is solid, and I think it's a good midpoint to start with the Ys series. And what's great about the Ys series is that they're all like reading a story from a book, so it doesn't matter what order we play.
Ys 8 Lacrimosa of Dana. Is that how you say that? Okay.
Yes. I call it Donna, but Dana, okay. Donna, either way.
I'll look it up.
Yeah.
I got proven wrong once earlier today when I tried to like ask someone about what I thought a game was called, because I thought Monster Hunter 3, I thought it was called Monster Hunter Tree. It turns out it's Monster Hunter Tri, and I got owned on that one, so let's look it up. Lacrimosa of Donna is, in Japanese, it's just written out in English in the title, apparently.
Well,
I think it's Donna, so I think it is Donna.
Donna.
Or possibly Darna.
Darna?
Damn it, Darna!
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I pre-installed it last night, so I'm going to get the jump on that game because I really do like that series a lot, and I'm excited to see what you guys
hold on, I did find Katakana. Hold on the actual cover it says underneath it Rakurimosa Obu.
Okay,
Dana. It is Dana. Okay,
so next episode will be about some fishing, and then we'll be back to talk about some Ys 8 in a month, and that, my friends, just leaves our little thing we call house cleaning. If you would like to join the Discord, come join us, please. We had somebody join yesterday. Welcome in. I don't remember the name, but welcome. And I'm happy you're joined. Let us know how you found the show. Whenever you join the Discord, please let me know how you found the show. It drives me crazy. I want to know. I always want to know, but I feel bad asking. bit.ly/TSMP Discord, all capital letters. If you would like to check out the website that is kept up to date by Dane, it is bit.ly/The Steam Machine Podcast. Just capitalize that phonetically. If you'd like to donate to the show, which will literally help me pay bills right now, and I would really appreciate it, and I love each and every one of you, that is patreon.com/The Steam Machine Podcast. $1 a month gets you the episodes early, gets some ad free for whenever we get ad monetization back. And you also get the little extra bit in the beginning where we do a Patreon only section in each and every episode, and $1 a month will get you that. But if you want to get your name read on each and every episode like these wonderful people right here, it's $10 or more a month. And that is Nate Sir Cogsworth, the 7th of June-iper, Jeff, the original Expendable, Mr. Syllables, old Jeffy Lube, Ariesoradam. Shout out to him being our Australian benefactor, or what's the word I'm looking for? Australian correspondent. Team Retrogue, go check him out over on YouTube. Mr. Puzzles, Dane himself, Chad the Mad Lad, no goddamn seeing his last name, Shaffer, and Flyin Brian Doran Gray. You guys are all appreciated very, very much. Shout out to the JRPG Report, a bi-weekly JRPG news show where me and one Mikhailov bring y'all the news and talk about all the goodness that is coming out of Japan. If you like our show enough that you would want to rep us so you can tell people about us, tsmpproductions.threadless.com, pick you up a shirt. It's a good conversation piece. And if you like our music, check me out on Bandcamp, nilethenightmare.bandcamp.com. New album possibly coming soon. And leave us a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. That really helps out a lot, especially on iTunes. Mikhailov, plug yo shit.
YouTube.com/@TeamRetrogue, where you can find my videos and my new podcast called We Played a Game, where Nefarious and I play old games that are almost as old as us and bullshit about them.
Now, I have questions for you about your show real quick while we're here.
Okay.
Are you sticking to the format of you're just going to have host picks? Are you ever going to let people like vote on or request?
I think we'll get there. Right now, we are picking from a list on the Retro Handhelds Discord because they do something called Game of the Month. And so they have 3 games every month that you could beat for credit in the Discord. And so we are bouncing back and forth between host picks, but we are limiting ourselves to those 3 games. And then we'll pick one of those 3 games, we'll play it, and then we'll kind of go from there. I think once we get our sea legs a little bit, we will not only be doing some viewer requests, but we will also be bringing in some guests.
Oh yeah, sounds great. And I will say,
so you may get a request from me.
And I will say, I did listen to the first episode, where him and Nefarious talked about Ocarina of Time, and it was a good episode, despite the fact that Nefarious pronounces Ocarina incorrectly.
Please make fun of him for that.
The way you do.
I don't remember how he said it.
Yeah.
Ocarina? Man, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Oklahoma. It's not Oklahoma. Oklahoma these nuts. For that.
Oh!
So anyways, do us all a big favor. If you're listening to the JRPG Report, get out there and level up. But this is the Steam Machine podcast.
I'm on.
This is the Steam Machine podcast. So just, take it easy.